Okay, this is the July 26th SEO 101 course. I'm starting early, about 46 minutes early, to answer SEO questions because I don't have very much better to do right now. So if you folks got SEO questions, the official course will start at 2 p.m. That's in 46 minutes. But I thought I'd just hang out here, and if you guys have SEO questions, please ask them in the chat, and I will try to answer them as quickly as possible. So whatever kind of SEO questions you guys got, go ahead and ask them. This is also being recorded right now, so people just in my private mentorship group will be able to watch this later. So don't freak out if you're like, I didn't know Josh was going to start early. Everything's recorded here, so you get at least the benefit of the questions. So if you have questions, I see people are starting to trickle in now. There's 8 watching now. Jump on in and answer questions. I'll just wait until I get some SEO questions. Type them in the chat. And the official course will start in about 45 minutes at 2 p.m. Until I get some questions, I'll just sit here and wait, I guess. There we go. Now people are starting to ask. Perfect. Okay, how are you doing, guys? So Isaac asks, hey, Josh, got a few questions on using POP. That's, I assume, is an acronym for Page Optimizer Pro. 1, when you add competitors, do you add only apples-to-apples sites or also sites like Yelp? Or do you also add sites that are ranking behind you? Yes, you add only apples-to-apples sites. So Page Optimizer Pro, I'll give you my affiliate link for it. It does give you 5 free credits. In the chat here, it's bit.ly/get pop. Pop is all uppercase. So bit.ly/get-pop. Get-pop. Pop is all uppercase. That's my affiliate link. So if you don't want me to make any money on it, and trust me, it's not a lot of money. Kyle doesn't charge very much. But that's Page Optimizer Pro. That's what Isaac's talking about. And that's definitely what we're using these days for on-page optimization. And it is the best thing to use for sure. And by the way, let me know how my audio is, guys. I have a fan on because it's super hot. If my audio is not any good, please let me know. And so, yes, I add competitors. I add as many competitors as possible. I try to make apples and apples competitors only. Like, if it's a page on Red Apples, I only try to have Red Apples there. Informational pages on Red Apples. If I'm doing an informational page on Red Apples, I only try to have informational pages on Red Apples. I don't add in, I for sure don't add in, yes, I add in people who are ranking behind me, but it depends on where you're ranking. If you're already ranking number 5, you might not want to start messing with it, right? If you're ranking pretty highly with POP, you might not want to mess with it. It depends how your score is. You would have to, if you're ranking like number 5, you'd have to check people behind you to see how they're scoring. Maybe you can squeeze another spot out of it. But if you're ranking number 5, I would be careful trying to pop your pages. Let me tell you some of the things that happened when we did it. So let me tell you some stories. Daddy Josh will tell you some stories. So most of the time when we pop, things get better. But sometimes when we pop pages, weird stuff happens because this is what Google does. And I'm starting to learn better how Google operates. Let me see if I can do kind of like an example here. Maybe I could use PowerPoint as kind of a sketch pad and make examples. So basically, Google reads your entire site and tries to determine what your entire site is about. I'm starting to see in testing. And Google also reads what each page is about. And it tries to make its best educated guess on all of the signals, both including keywords in your content and keywords in your navigation, both on that page and on other pages, pointing to various pages. What page is best for what particular keyword? So the problem there is that you might want them to rank page 1 for query 1, but they're going to rank page 3 for query 1 for some stupid reason, because their AI thinks that it's more likely, or because people are clicking to it, or just because of the fact that you have a bunch of keywords in your navigation that's kind of pointing to it. So sadly, that's kind of what they'll do. And so here's the problem: is that when you go to pop your pages, it's going to be like, okay, wait a minute. You say red apples a million times in your you say red apples a million times in your navigation. And so this is what happened to an actual client of mine. They're great people. They're in my documentary, actually. They sell tungsten rings, but unfortunately they over optimized their site, and they put, a Claddagh tungsten ring, Irish tungsten ring, Celtic tungsten ring. They had tungsten ring in every single link in the navigation on every page. And so every page is way over optimized for the keyword tungsten rings. And so when we're trying to rank the /tungsten rings page, Google's not choosing that page because every other page is over optimized for that keyword. Google is stupid, right? It's artificial intelligence. It's not smart. It's like, I see tungsten rings all over the place, and then it makes some kind of random weird guess as to what page it should be ranking. So when you go to pop, you gotta be a little bit more careful. It's like pop works, but the way it works best is you have a site that's not on your keywords. So far is how it works, and I might change my tune next course, because we're doing more testing in this regard, right? Of like page clusters and orphan child pages and stuff like that, and what people call silos and stuff like that. We're testing all this now. So right now, the way it works the best, that I'm getting like spot 35 to spot 2 kind of boosts, and like spot 80 to spot 20 kind of boosts, is when you have a site that's not on the keywords, and you have /keyword1, /keyword2, /keyword3, and keyword 2 and 3 do not appear anywhere else but on the respective pages, right? And so keyword 1, keyword 2, keyword 3 are different enough that they don't really overlap at all. And then so Google is not confused at all as to what page to rank for what keyword. And then we pop that page, and we choose enough competitors, and we do not choose sites like Yelp or YouTube or like stuff that's ranking there, or Amazon, or stuff that's ranking there because query deserves diversity or because of huge page rank. We choose stuff that seems to be ranking there because its on page looks really good and says the keywords, and then we put like 10 of those in there to make sure we don't make a mistake, and then we get a good pop result. So I'm not going to repeat myself. Rewind that if that didn't make sense. Listen to it again. And I'm going to give you more information about that coming up, about how you do these page clustering. But right now, it's very separate. It's like keyword 1 on page 1, /keyword 1, /keyword 2, /keyword 3, and they're very separate. And we're not cannibalizing keywords on different pages to confuse the hell out of Google. And if you're already on like spot number 5, I would be very careful of making any changes to that, because most of the time things get better. But when you're already on page 1, I'm getting like the slightest increases. I'll show you the kind of increases I'm getting. If you ever want to see the proof, like, why should I listen to you, Josh? Well, I'm doing the best single variable tests. But if you ever want to see the proof as to why you should listen to me as well, go to bit.ly/SEO proof. If you go to bit.ly/SEO proof, I have a Dropbox folder, and I drop in there all my successes. And so this is updated, and you can see all the stuff I got going on. And it's a little, I admit, it's a little braggadocious, to use the language of the day. But I mean, I'm selling myself, I'm selling my services, so I gotta be a little braggadocious, really. But so here's when you're already ranking number 1, this is the kind of stuff you'll see. Like, this is the kind of increase you'll get. Like a 1 spot increase on page, and you get some more impressions because now I'm ranking for better keyword clusters, and so the clicks went up by 1,000, so that was great. But sometimes I removed them out of here because they didn't look very impressive. But there were ones in here that are like literally like this is like a 9 spot boost. That's fairly impressive. There's ones where there's like a 1 spot boost. I think I removed them because they didn't look that impressive. And I'm making a presentation for next week, trying to show off all my super good results. But sometimes you get results that are like 1 or 2 spot boosts, and it's not that impressive. And so it's not always worth risking the rankings when you're on spot 5. So anyway, I'm still trying to answer Isaac's question here. So I hope that answers your question there, Isaac. Okay, another question. I know there is no link velocity, but how fast should we be building links? We built 150,000 links in a day, and it did not hurt that site. And Google has admitted numerous times that link velocity doesn't make any sense because and remember when I made that big attack article on Matt Cutts a few years ago. Matt Cutts used to be the head of the Webmaster Spam team, and back when Amit Singh was the head of search, and they shared an office at Google back in the day. And I made that big attack article. I got 1,500 links for that attack article. That's how you do it in the quote unquote white hat way. That's literally how you earn links, which of course I don't do. I buy them now, of course. I'll say acquire when I'm on the show, but I'm buying them, right? I hope that's obvious for everybody, right? The question is, from whom do you buy them, and what metrics do you need? I'm not really going to focus on links too much today, unless you want to ask about them before the course. The course starts in 35 minutes, and then I'll be going over the audit, what I do for an audit, and all my secrets in there, and then also that will dovetail into quality. And I've got 2 sites I'm doing. Strident is one of them, and I'm glad to see that he's here. He or she is here. I guess it's a he. I'm not really sure. And then I'm doing another audit. So 2 people have already submitted their sites for audits, and I'll actually do the audits, and I'll show you my whole audit document. I'll go through the whole thing and why I go through what I go through, which is pretty important because I rarely do that. In fact, I've never done that. People have tried to pay me to watch me do the audit on their site. I'm like, no, it's my magic juice. So I'm showing you my magic juice. That didn't really sound right. I'm showing you all the secrets. Okay, so no, I don't think there's a link velocity. So I don't think you have to worry about that. One thing I do kind of worry about is like a new site all of a sudden gets a bunch of links at once, but that's entirely possible because you could finish your site and then you could do a TV ad and say, hey, we're the greatest. Come check out our site. Your TV ad or whatever, and then people are making a bunch of links to you. So we've never seen link velocity as any kind of problem. I think it's another SEO myth. You can be careful there if you want, but I have not seen any good evidence to suggest that you need to be. Okay. So Strident asks, how does Google handle no index? Completely ignore all signals? Yes, that's how they handle it. When you no index a page, it is completely, as far as we know, as far as Google tells us, and as far as I can see in the wild, they completely no index. When you no index that page, it stops all link juice. Google has admitted this. Even if you have a follow, it stops all link juice. And it will stop it from being indexed. It will immediately remove it. It's like putting a 404. No index is essentially a 404. It's the same thing. And a 410 will remove it from the index a little bit faster, but practically speaking, you probably wouldn't notice any difference. Strident also asks, this is an interesting question. I don't know why you're asking this, but I find it interesting. Asks, are there multiple PageRank scores? I don't know what you mean. If you mean link juice, no. As far as I know, there's one PageRank score for determining PageRank based on the old algorithm they made for links. I think they factor in traffic over links. I think they use that to validate sources. I have not confirmed that. And I have some evidence to suggest otherwise because the 150,000 spam links we built, I guarantee, had no traffic, virtually no traffic. So I just use traffic as a rule of thumb to just think that it's a blog with a real readership that gives me plausible deniability. At the end of the day, you will be super surprised as to how easy it is to get links and how, not to get them, but how non-stringent Google is being when it comes to linking. But so I don't know what you mean by multiple PageRank scores. There are multiple ranking scores, and this is how I would break them down. I would break them down. Let me get I need some kind of whiteboard, but I don't have anything that's good enough here. Let me just start something here. There are 3 different main ranking sections. There is your on-page score, your off-page score, and your quality score. Off-page is broken down into links and social. So I think that's how it works. It really breaks down. And I think quality is anywhere from 30 to 50% based on what I'm seeing. So let me get a paint going here. Paint brush. There we go. So there's not multiple page rank scores. There's multiple. There are multiple scores. The main ways I would break down SEO is into on page, quality, which I think is even more than 30%. So I would say it's on page, quality, and then off page. And I think this is the bigger of the three. And this breaks down into links, and this breaks down into social, really, in my opinion. And this could even be like on site semantic. But this is still a question. We're still testing this. I would ignore this until the tests are done. Right now, like I said, you should be doing things a little differently. Okay. Darlene says, Pop is awesome. I used it after watching one of the shows. I did everything suggested, and it went nowhere. And today it is 23 average. It's only been live since 7/19. So I'm sorry, Darlene, I don't understand. So you're saying it did work or it didn't work? Which one are you saying? Are you saying that it took some time? It does take some time. It does take some time to see some difference from Pop. I usually wait about a week. That's usually the time it takes to shake out. But it can take more. It can take up to 3 weeks. If it takes up to 3 weeks, then something weird's going on with the site, and that's when you start having more of an on-site semantic, and you're over-optimized across the site, and you're cannibalizing keywords across the site, and so Google is confused, and it's got to make a choice as to what page you should rank for what. And if you have quality problems, this I see all the time. We pop a page, it's ranking. So if this is the graph, this is like 100 or whatever. This is 1. It's ranking down here. We pop a page, it'll go boom to like 2. And then it'll have a bunch of views, and then it'll go boom back down, and then maybe it'll come up a bit and be around here. This is a quality. If you see something like this in Search Console, this is a quality issue. It's A/B testing it because you have the proper on page now, but people don't like it, and so it's not sticking, right? So I would watch for scenarios like this. That's definitely a problem. Sarush says, hey, Josh, thanks for the course. Once you said it costs about $150 to make a PBN, I know how to make a reliable one, but what particular rules do you follow when making one? Sarush, that's a great question, brother. I don't make PBNs. I just buy blog post links. I just find blogs that have a real readership, and I have an author there who's my guy who can get me links on those blogs, and I buy them. I pay off the author. I bribe the author to give me a real link on a real blog. And I try to push that as far as that is possible. That's a sliding scale. So let's say we have the worst here. These are 2.0s. 2.0s are the worst kind of link, and then we have here like newspapers. Those are the real kind of blogs, right? I try to get up here as high as possible. Problem is that these cost more. That's the problem, and I don't have control of the page. So the sweet spot is around here, where I have control of the page. I can pop the page if I want. I can edit my backlinks. I get a single do follow link. There's no other links in it, and it doesn't cost too much. That's the sweet spot. But it's still above the threshold of a 2.0, where it's a public login piece of crap, and I have plausible deniability. Not personal dysfunction. Plausible deniability is what I want. For when my links bubble up to Google for the manual team to look at it, they cannot honestly say that this is not a link that was organic. I repeat, I need plausible deniability, where I control the link. I can pop the backlink page if I want to, which seems to help, but not if Google's going to ignore it. If it's a Web 2.0, if it's in everybody's disavow file, does it look like it's in everybody's disavow file? Do I want that? No. You don't want that. So I can edit the links. I can put my link in the first paragraph. It's got to be in the first paragraph to get the most juice. A link down at the bottom of the page has barely any juice at all. First paragraph, and it doesn't cost very much. It's got real readership. I control it. I can edit it. That's what you want. Sometimes you got to add links in here at the top level that are expensive, depending on how much trust flow you want to get, even though I don't know for sure I need it. Again, that's just for plausible deniability. Really, at the end of the day, it all comes down to page authority. That is the most important metric, really, when it comes down to it, and all these other things. This and this are all the important metrics when it comes to linking. Really, when it comes down to it. Hey, I said I wouldn't cover linking, but I just did. Kurt says, so for quality signals on site, is it relative per sector? For example, an e-commerce site in certain industry, average time on site is 40 seconds, which normally is bad. It has nothing to do with that. Kurt, go back to my SEO quickies. So these are resources you guys should all know that I have. You should all know that I have. I have one. Here, let me type this so it's not one. That's my proof of all my results. That's ultimately why you should listen to me. These are all live client results. This is my SEO quickies that I'm doing. I have one in there that talks about my recent click experiment that I did, and I've done other click experiments. And this is what I'm basing my theories off of. So this you guys should definitely know. Let me place that, I don't know, here. So check out that experiment. Dwell time, we've tested dwell time. It has never been a ranking factor. And you'll see the recent experiment I did, it kind of correlates with rankings, but then it doesn't correlate with rankings. So I'm rejecting dwell time as a ranking factor until I get better evidence. Dwell time is not a good, because think about it logically, dwell time is not a factor that's going to tell Google anything really alone anyway. Just because a person spent 5 minutes on a page, maybe they got up and went to the bathroom. It doesn't mean it's a better page. Maybe the content's so annoying it took them 5 minutes to find what they wanted, right? And maybe they only found what they wanted in 5 seconds. So Google denies that dwell time is a ranking factor and is anything you need to worry about. None of my tests have shown otherwise. And so I've got 2 pieces of evidence there saying no. And so I'm at 2 is good enough for me. It takes 2. It takes 2 to make a thing all right. It takes 2 for me to say, no, it's not a factor. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So it's not dwell time, Kurt. It's other stuff I'm going to be talking about today. And check out my SEO quickies that I recently did. It's actually still on YouTube. And there's other than the videos I have in SEO quickies, it's another Dropbox folder I just drop stuff into. But you can look at the text file and you have the YouTube in there. Okay, Sarush. You guys can see my screen. Hopefully you guys can hear me, right? Say yes if you guys can hear me, please. To make sure that you guys can hear me okay, if there's no distortion there, because I have a fan on my face just to keep me cool here. All right, and I'll keep talking as if you can hear me until I see that. I tried to turn off the 30-second delay, but I don't have it off yet. Is it possible to have someone cooperating with you in Hangout to notify you when there's no screen? Yes, for sure. Why is that going on? Am I messing up? You can hear me good. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, Sarush, do you volunteer yourself to jump on here and help tell me when I'm not giving you a screen or whatnot, or when something's not clear? I'll add you in, Sarush, if you want to be my guy to do that, if you don't mind. You let me know. Like I said, I have a 30-second delay on this thing. Okay, I see. Sarush said sure. So okay, so let me get the URL for you. I'll email that to Sarush, our Persian friend. Okay, and then Sarush can join. And then you can tell me if things are going all right. Okay, Let me see what other questions I can answer here before we get to the course. The course will be in 20 minutes. Okay, Isaul says, when you're ranking number 3 for a 3-word keyword, red juicy apples, but you're not ranking less than 20 for red apples, 1, is it a good idea to target red apples? 2, what about previous pop optimization for .juicy. So, yeah, I gotcha, Asal. See, that's the problem, is that, again, that's keyword cannibalization, and I'm really starting to realize that's the biggest problem with using pop, is that when you don't have really clear what you want it to be really clear. So you do not want to overlap keywords. Please forgive my terrible typing. So you want it to look like this. You want it to be url.com/keyword1, keyword 2, keyword 3. For now, this is the best way to do it because we tested and keywords. The pages that are right off the root ranked better. We tested that. So you don't want silos for now. For now, I'm still testing this out, but Kyle did test and keywords off the root ranked better. And okay, I see Sarush is here. Thanks, Sarush. So if I'm not sharing the screen or if I'm missing something, let me know. And
Sure.
Thank you very much. And so keyword 1 and then keyword 2, keyword 3, you want them separate for now. You do not want to start having keyword 1 mentioned all the time in keyword 3 page because Google might decide to rank this page for keyword 1 instead of this one where you're doing all the work. So that's the problem. And so I can see what your problem immediately is, Asao, because if you're ranking number 3, and also keep in mind, you have to be specific. Be specific. I'm about to tell a client this, and he's going to be pissed off at me, or maybe. There's always a chance when you tell a client that he's doing it wrong that they're going to be pissed off at you. But you got to be specific. For example, these are 2 different queries. Unusual gold rings is not the same query as gold rings. This does not equal gold rings, right? So if you want to rank for gold rings, you cannot be appending the adjective unusual all over the place because Google will then get you ranking for this and not for this. Does that make sense? Yes, the keyword gold rings is in here. And yes, Google might decide to rank this page for gold rings on like spot 40 or something stupid. But if you want to rank for gold rings, the page has to be about gold rings and nothing else. Not special gold rings, not cool gold rings, not unusual gold rings, no other adjective gold rings. Right? Google is specific. It is specific to the keyword and is specific to the URL. So I have a customer right now that I just noticed this on his site, and now we're gonna have to make all these changes. And plus, and if you're watching, no offense, but surprise, I'm gonna email you about this in a little bit as soon as we're on the next part of that phase. But if he's watching, I'm not sure. But I can't remember if he's a mentor as well as a client, but a mentee. But and also, unusual is not a good adjective to choose here. He meant unique because unique sounds cool and sexy. Unusual gold rings. I don't want an unusual gold ring. Like I don't want like unusual wedding rings or unusual engagement rings. Do you really want that? You want a unique wedding ring. So that's one. He's not thinking of the right adjective from a sales perspective, which of course I do not say sales is not important. Of course it is. It's the most important thing, and that's what we're doing SEO for. But this page here is not going to rank for gold rings. This page will rank better for gold rings. This page will be a pain in the ass to try to rank for gold rings because you're not specifying gold rings, you're specifying unusual gold rings. So Asal, I hope that answers your question as to how I would have that work. Okay, Darlene updated us. She says it was not in the index, and now 4 days later it's 23. So that's a pretty good increase from 1,000, spot 1,000 plus to 23. That's a huge win for Pop, and that's exactly what Pop does. like I had this result here. I popped a page. I popped a page here. Whoops. I popped a page, and suddenly, if you do it right, not only you're going to start ranking better for your, and I'll zoom in a second. Not only are you going to rank better for your main keywords you're going for, but if you've chosen your keyword variations and your keyword properly, you're going to have all these extra keywords you weren't ranking for before. So look at all these keywords. He was in position 6, and now he's ranking for all these keywords he wasn't ranking for before, all these juicy keywords that he wanted to rank for that he wasn't ranking for before. And that's what'll happen if you do your pop correctly, because not only you're choosing, you're not choosing a main keyword to rank for too, you're choosing the keyword family you want to rank for as well. So if I go back to my diagram page here, not only are you trying to rank for keyword number 1, you're trying to rank for the family of keywords that are synonyms and other ways of typing keyword number 1, and all these other keywords that are under keyword number 1 that are related to this one that Hummingbird is automatically going to rank you for when you optimize for this one stronger. And so it's not just the keyword you want to rank for, it's the keyword family. And what you're doing, again, this is not supposed to be, oh, the course is not for 14 minutes, so I have some time. Let's see what other questions I have here. Can I divulge into, I have a little bit of time. I can divulge into keywords a bit. So when you're doing your keyword research, you want to go on Google AdWords Keyword Planner, you want to download the keywords. And when you get your list, I'm just going to tell you quickly, and I hope this makes sense. When you get your list from AdWords Keyword Planner, you're going to have an Excel page. You're going to have a bunch of keywords, right? And you're going to be able to use your human intelligence that, okay, this and this are really the same thing. So you take this one, you put it here. You take this one, you put it under. And you say, okay, here are my secondary keywords that really mean the same thing as this. And if you're in doubt, go check Google. So here's your main keyword that has the most traffic and has the best CPC. And then here's all the other keywords in here that really mean the same thing. And if you're in doubt, go check Google. And then I choose this one. I copy it over here. I go, okay, here's the main keyword for this page. This is one page. This is page 2. And then you check here for all the things that really mean this. It means the same thing. Those are your secondary keywords you try and go for. Those are not necessarily keyword variations. They can be in POP. They can be keyword variations, but they're also secondary keywords you still want to stick in there. Because I want to control the rankings as much as possible. So this goes a little bit beyond POP. So some of these could be your keyword variations. Some of these are just going to be secondary keywords you want to stick in the page anyway. That's about this. And you're always using the best one out of the list from the top of the traffic and the CPC. And you're putting that at the top, and then you put the secondary keywords. That's how you plan your pages out. And that's how you know you're ranking for the best keyword family. And then once you do all that math, you might realize that, oh, this keyword family is actually far better in terms of money and in terms of traffic than, say, this one. And you're going to know that because you've downloaded all that stats from AdWords Keyword Planner, and you put it in Excel. And you only have to do this once. When you're starting the site up, and if you haven't done it for years, I would suggest you do it again, because you will be surprised as to the changes in searches that people are doing. I have another client. He's a great guy. He sells really expensive car parts for a really expensive posh kind of car. Let's say Ferraris. It's not Ferraris, but let's say it is. It's like Ferraris. And he sells Ferrari parts. He's like, Josh, I've been doing this business for 30 years. I know no one searches anything else but Ferrari parts. I want to rank for Ferrari parts. Ferrari parts is the only keyword I need to rank for. So one, as his SEO, I need to remember, okay, this is a vanity keyword. Ferrari parts. Have to make him rank for this no matter what, even if it's not as good as these other keywords I found for him. But then I also say, hey, look, I found Ferrari rear end, Ferrari parts, red Ferrari parts. Who knew? Who knew that would ever outstretch your vanity keyword? But it does. So you still got to make the client rank for this, unless you can make the client understand that his vanity keyword isn't actually all that great, which is not easy to do. Then you got to make him rank for this, but you then also have to do your due diligence and make him rank for actually the real keywords that are actually really good. And by choosing it this way, a main keyword plus all the synonyms and stuff that really actually means this at the end of the day. You're getting your keyword variations, you're getting your secondary keywords, you're ranking for an entire keyword family is what you want to rank for. So that's what you do here. And so the main keyword would be this, and then you're going to try for the secondary keywords and the keyword family is what you're going for here. And that's the variations you would put into POP. And that's also a secondary keyword you would just stick in the bottom of the page or stick it throughout the page. So at the end of the day, this goes up for the main keyword in Search Console, but it doesn't go down. It stays up, and it keeps ranking around here and stays up around here. But not only did it do that for that, it did it for all these other keywords as well. It's going up for all these other keywords and maybe appearing out of nowhere for these keywords. And that's how you really win with POP. You made your main keyword go up, great, that's good. But how you really win with POP is suddenly, like that page I showed you, it's ranking for 1,000 keywords. 1,000 keywords it wasn't ranking before, and suddenly the impressions triple and the clicks double. That's what you want at the end of the day. Does that make sense? If what I just said about here about keywords makes sense, say keyword yes. So I know that keywords make sense. Okay, Darren asks, do I use a bot blocker? No, I don't use a bot blocker. I don't care about bots. As far as I can tell, they don't affect traffic at all in any way, shape, or form. So I don't care about them at all. Isaac asks, when it comes to local map pack ranking, what do I do? What kind of testing have I done? I will go through that in my audit. I will go through that in 9 minutes. The course starts in 9 minutes, folks. Darian asks, Darlene, a question. I will just, you just follow POP to try and get that A, Darren, sorry. Keyword yes, good. The keyword point made sense. Great, I'm glad. Kurt says, is there a quick tip to avoid Yoda language when popping? Let's say the ranking term is apples, red, buy instead of buy red apples. Yeah, okay, so here is a little, can I tell you guys a little secret just between me and my mentor students? Here's where Kyle and I are not making sense with each other. Now, keep in mind, I hire a person to do POP. My girl who does POP, her name is Rhoda. She's a fantastic person. I found her on Upwork. Out of every 10 people you find on Upwork, you find a good person. So I was on my 10th, so I got lucky. She's great. She's running POP. She's learned how to run POP. She is always getting these SEO proof. These results I'm getting here that you see here for on page is her work with my guidance and a lot of talking to Kyle. And so she knows what she's doing. But here's the problem is that it doesn't make any effing sense to me. Like why, like it doesn't make any sense to me that you want, if you want to rank for buy red apples, that you should be putting in there. And as far as I understand it, you want to put the word buy a lot in there. You want to put the word red a lot in there. And you want to put the word apples a lot in there separately. And I asked Kyle, I said, Kyle, did you really test all this? Is this just some SEO BS? And he swears to me up and down, he tested every single factor he put into that. And I see the results. And so, yeah, whatever POP says to do, you got to go do it because he tested every, I put his boots to the fire. I said, come on, man, really? Like we're just two SEOs talking now. Really, everything you're saying here, you really tested all these? And he said, yes, he did. So whatever POP is suggesting, you got to do it. I know there's some nuances to POP. I don't really use it myself. If you have questions, and if you're on my mentor program, you get to email me some questions, and then I will just forward them to Rhoda. And if she has time, then she can answer you. And she's a master at using this thing by now. So just email me if you have any questions, and I'll send them to Rhoda. We can't answer 100 questions, but she can answer. If you have 1 or 2 POP questions, she can answer 1 or 2 POP questions. Okay, Take Massive Action asks, when trying to boost trust flow, is there a formula you use to determine how many links equals a certain number of trust flow? Well, here's the thing, and I don't know if you noticed this point. And for those of you waiting for the course, I'm going to start the course in 6 minutes. I'll start the official course in 6 minutes here. But I'm just answering some SEO questions ahead of time. But I don't really try and boost trust flow. Like I do, but it's not part of what I think the main factor is. What the main factor for for links is, as far as I'm concerned, is this. This is what you need for links. Trust flow is just a vanity thing I like adding just for plausible deniability, just to think that it's real readership, because trust flow is a number of actual people going to the site. I could also use the SEMrush. I could also use the SEMrush traffic guess if I wanted. It doesn't really matter. And it's traffic to the page that matters at the end of the day, if the hypothesis is correct that you need traffic on your backlinks. But I've never seen this in testing. This has never been proven in testing that I've needed that. So to tell you the truth, I just do it for vanity, and I really, PA is what's important, because it's the best. It's one of the best page rank guesses that we have, and I want plausible deniability. I want to control that link. I want to be able to pop it, because that does give a boost. I've noticed up to ×3 in testing, and I'm still testing it. I want to be able to edit my link. I want to be in the first paragraph for the link. I can't remember what D meant. But I want a do follow. I want a do follow link. I want everyone else on that page to be no follow, and the link shouldn't cost too much, right? I pay anywhere from $10 to, say, $2,500 for one of these crazy links up here at the top here. But when you're on the sweet spot here, it should cost $50, something like that. Now, that's not what I'm going to charge you if you come get the links through me. I'm going to charge you a bit more, because I'm going to test them myself. I'm going to personally check them out. And if you want to be absolutely safe, you really should build them to a link router. So it's whatever url.com/? Equals UTM, whatever equals share or something like that. And then you canonical that back to the root in a rel canonical. That's really how you have plausible deniability. So when this bubbles up, again, plausible deniability. So when this bubbles up to the manual team and they're looking at your links, you're like, I don't know where those came from. I didn't build these. Some kind of sharing program made these. Someone else made these. Some kind of sharing program made these links. I didn't make them, because you have UTM equals share here, or something like that. So it's just UTM equals share. So you say, yeah, I didn't make those. And then if you want, you could just make this serve for a 404, and therefore you delete all those links. But I wouldn't do that at first. I'd say, I didn't make these links. You guys have made a mistake. These are all organic. Check again and see if the manual team says yes. Sometimes that works if you have plausible deniability. And remember, this is versus site. If it's versus links, you don't do anything. You just go, oh, well, they caught some of my links. You just keep going. You just don't build any spammy, crappy links like these. Stop that. Then if you ever get a manual action versus site, then you say, you guys made a mistake. As long as you have plausible deniability, you guys made a mistake. These are all organic. And if they don't like that answer, then you go, well, is it these share links? I didn't build these. Fine, I'll 404 all these URLs. They're all, I'll delete all of them. Then you 404 them. And you say, okay, I've removed them from my site. I 404 this URL parameter. I don't care. I don't want these. I didn't make these. You want me to 404 anything else? And then they'll say, okay. Hopefully they'll believe that lie, and then they'll put your site back. But you know what, guys? To tell you the truth, here's another secret. I haven't got a link penalty in years. Years. And I've built I've been building all kinds of links. Especially on my test sites, I've been trying to get link penalties. I haven't got one in years. I don't even know if Google's doing it anymore. To tell you the truth, probably sure they are, but I don't think they're doing it to the extent that everyone else thinks they are. Okay, we're going to start the course here in about 2 minutes. If you guys have any final SEO questions, please ask them now. Who was I supposed to do the audit for? Who was it again? It was Strident was one of them, right? I think this was one of the sites here. What was the other site I was supposed to do the audit for? let me know here in the chat if you can. We're going to talk about my audit process. We're going to talk about quality. Oh, look at that. These guys had a manual action. I wonder when that happened. I just said I hadn't seen one in years. Huh? I see a Stridon was in the this must have happened after I got you guys in here. So I saw Dan, is it? Dan from a Stridon. When did you guys get this manual action that I see here that was already removed? I'm pretty much going to have to ignore that because I don't know what was going on there. Can you guys still hear me? If you can hear me, please say whether you can. Sarush, can you hear me?
Yeah. Your voice is clear.
Okay, good. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock. You don't see anything. How come you don't see anything? I see the screen right now.
Yeah, the board, the whiteboard. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the board on right now. Well, what do you mean you don't see anything, Kurt? Oh, okay. So it was a schema. It was a penalty versus schema. I see. Okay, so Dan had a penalty versus schema. No, Mike, you didn't get your time wrong. Don't worry. I started an hour early because I had nothing better to do. So I just answered about an hour of SEO questions. No, man. I'm looking at this white screen with all my scribbles on it, Kurt. So if you can see the white screen with all the scribbles, you're looking at the right one. So, Mike, no, I didn't start. I didn't start the course early. I just started answering SEO questions early. It's all recorded, so go back and listen to it if you want. I'm going to start the course now because at 4 o'clock I got to leave like a bat out of hell. I got a martial arts class after that I got to go to, and so I cannot stay past 4. So to make sure I get through everything, I got to start right now. So thanks, folks, for tuning in for my second SEO 101 course. So today I'm going to go through my audit process, and I'm going to show you what I do for audits, and I'm going to show you my actual audit document, go through the whole thing, and as I'm doing at least one audit here, I'm going to start with the Stridon site, which is kind of interesting because it looks like it's supposed to be an SEO site, a site selling SEO. So that's kind of it's kind of the irony is kind of funny for me. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And so I'm going to plunge into that. And again, Sarush, you'll let me know if you guys can't see my screen here.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to be showing you guys how I do an SEO audit and how that dovetails into quality, which I think is the biggest SEO factor. I think the audit is the most impressive and useful SEO tool, and I think that the audit is the most impressive and useful SEO tool, and I think that the quality is the most prodigious and important SEO factor moving forward. I think the reason why Google can be so cavalier in allowing such obvious bullcrap in their algorithm of like such basic on-page manipulation and such basic linking manipulation, because at the end of the day, if the clicks confirm that people are liking what they see in the SERPs, they don't have to be so stringent as to what links they allow and what content they allow, do they? Does that make sense? If they suddenly decide, it really, the on-page and the off page don't matter as long as they get the clicks, the quality. People are confirming with clicks that this is the pages they want to see. Then this and this don't matter too much anymore as long as this is working out. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you guys everything here. I'm showing my whole screen so you can see all the stuff I got going on here. So let's start off with what I would look for. And as I go through an audit here for these guys, I'll show you my audit document and actually what I would write down and what I would be doing. I don't know if I'm going to actually write this all down. I would just, because I'm going to save time, but I'm going to show you what I would go through. So let's get started. Let's go through the whole thing. Okay, so here is the website I'm going to do an audit on. It's Strident. They're selling web design, Santa Cruz, SEO, website audits, social media, digital marketing, that kind of stuff. And I need access to their analytics. I need access to their search console. So here's the first thing I would do in said search console. And Sarush, if it's a little small and you can't read it, let me know. I would go over to the new search console. And there's two things I would check here that you want to check. One, the performance in this search console is great. I can see it's not that old. You have to be running search console. If you're not, you're missing out on crucial SEO information. You can go back to 16 months here. So that's quite nice, going back to 16 months. But this site obviously doesn't have that data. I'm not going to do that. But the index coverage is very interesting here because they tell you what's valid. That's fine. But they're also going to tell you what's excluded. And they have some very interesting classifications here. Page with redirect, fine. Excluded by no index tag, fine. And you got to check in here for problems like soft 404. That's actually a problem. And you need to click on this and see what the problem is. And then you can't see because I made this bigger. I'll have to make everything super big. But if I click on this here, I can submit to index. I can view a search result. This is the first result I want to show you guys. This is a very good diagnostic tool. Whenever Google has discovered a URL, but haven't crawled it, crawled a URL, but haven't indexed it, came up with some kind of crawl anomaly, like some kind of WordPress internal URL, or some kind of duplicate page, or some kind of CMS error, error in scare quotes, you will see this kind of result. So, for example, if you check a backlink page, let's say this is my backlink page. See, this is a CMS error because this is part of the WP content that normally should not. This should be theoretically hidden from from Google. Really, there shouldn't be any links to this that they're going to crawl. You could robot out if you wanted to, but it doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is, if this is an actual page where you're trying to get a backlink from, this is a bad diagnostic sign. Okay. You definitely don't want to see this on a backlink page because what this means when you type info and you get blank, if it's not in the index, if I search for this, oh, no, that's a bad example. If I search for this, that's a bad example too. Wait a minute. This, if I search for foobar.html, okay, that's all a bad example. Okay. This should not be happening. Wait a minute. What if I search for this? Okay. All right. Okay. So it doesn't have your main domain filtered. So that's weird. For example, if I search for a URL that doesn't exist, it's not supposed to give me this kind of result. So if I search for this and I search for foobar, it's not supposed to give me nothing. This tells you something about, well, maybe Google's changed how they operate. So never mind that point. But when you know it's a URL that's supposed to exist, and they're giving you this like this is a backlink page, for example, and they're giving you this blank screen, that's a bad sign. So you want to check through here to see all the issues, and you might be surprised. Sometimes it's only 4 pages. Sometimes you'll see 15,000 pages in here that have a soft 404 that are a duplicate page without a canonical tag. That, again, there's no penalty here, but it's going to show there's a crawling issue. There's no penalty as far as I know, but they could be like, oh, you've got 15,000 duplicate pages here. We're going to give you less crawl budget, and you've got one check mark in the low quality. It's possible. So again, I'm saying err with a side of caution here, and you want to just check in here to see how Google is kind of treating the page and how they're treating your site, and whether or not they like what they see here. And I like using this new Search Console to do it. So if I found any problems in here, I would list them inside of the audit. Okay. And I will also check their performance here to see what's going on. And what I would do is I would see something where they're ranking, middle of the page or here, best CMS for developers 2018. This is also going to give me some information. Now, for example, why is a sales site like this one? Why is a sales site like this one ranking for queries like best CMS for developers in 2018? Especially if it's a local site. Local sites are not benefited at all by having a general blog. There's general blog rankings. There's local rankings, which have local factors and local semantic and relevance. And there's general blog rankings. And never the twain shall meet. Having a blog is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form rank for local factors. It used to be overlapped in 2007. It's no longer 2007. So again, this is not helping this person out rank for web design Santa Cruz. It's not helping them in any way, shape, or form. All it's doing is, remember, I told you that Google is trying to figure out what your site is about and rank you for that. And so if all it sees is blog queries, then it's going to start ranking you for blog queries, and it's not going to rank you for web queries. This is based on my experience. This is based on direct Google leaks. John Mueller has directly admitted this, that if you have a local site, you want it to be a brochure site. That was a very blatant and blunt admission from John Mueller, which he rarely gives. And when he does give them, you should listen. So I would check the queries it's ranking for, and this is not good. It's got page one rankings, great, but now it's going to be even harder to get it to rank for web design Santa Cruz because Google thinks that you're all about whatever this is, this information here, right? So what I would do is I would actually go in here into my browser, and I would say, okay, here's web design Santa. Oh, actually, I would use this tool here. I would go to, where is it? I would use this Bright Local tool. Let me just put that here in the chat. Whoa, it's going crazy. So I'm putting Bright Local in the chat here. I would use this backlink tool. Nope, sorry. And I would use this Bright Local tool, which does search. I would do web design Santa Cruz. I would say, yeah, United States, and I would say Santa Cruz. And it supposes it's going to check the search results from Santa Cruz in the US. You see right down here, it says Santa Cruz, California, because that's how the tool spoofs it. And then I would say, okay, I'm going to tell you basically what you need to rank here. You want to know what you need to rank here? If you want to rank local, I'm going to go over this in a second, but I'm going to go over this again later on. But basically, you want the most reviews, you want the most best reviews, you want the best, you want to be located in the geographic center, or you want to be located relative to where your searchers are. So if you want to rank for most people in Santa Cruz, where do most people in Santa Cruz live? That's the biggest ranking factor is geographic relevance. Then you want ranking stars. Then you want your Google My Business listing filled out with free parking, 100% back money guarantee, all the free frills. Fill it out completely. Get a local reviewer to review it, give you good reviews. Get a 360-degree tour. All those things in that order. You notice I didn't say local citations. I don't give a shit about local citations. You can get local citations, but the local citations I would get are here from Yelp. You want to be, if you want to rank for Web Design Santa Cruz, you need to be on this page right here. That's where you need to be. You want to be listed, if for local citations, you want to be listed on Yelp, Amazon, Facebook, Amazon Services, that is, Better Business Bureau, big sites like that. Not Jim Bob's local directory site from 1998 that has 100 pages on the same page. That is not the kind of local link you want. And then I would check this out and I would say, okay, if you want to show up here, my friend, if you want to show up here, you got to be in Santa Cruz. You got to have to Google my business listing. You got to do all that stuff I just said. If you want to show up in the info area, you're going to need really a PA of 31 from some realish sites. I would try to go for a trust flow of 32, just anecdotally. Let's see, we've got 2 domains, 3 domains. Oh, he is here. Perfect. So if you want to boost this up, you're going to need to get more trust flow. You need more PA. These guys, this guy is social. So that's great. I would compare this all out. You have keyword density. Fantastic. They don't. That's probably how it helped you getting here. And are they huge sites? Yeah, this guy's a big site. So this is your competitor here. You got to compete with this dude here. Yeah, and I don't see any doubling up, so that's fantastic. And these guys are getting the clicks because they have the site links. So you need better quality. So you need social. You need more PA, about 10 more points of PA at least. If this site wants to get up here, no more spammy links. I already see some spammy links. You get them pointed right at your domain name, which is unfortunate because now you can't optimize the URL, which is a big ranking signal. But I would not recommend going and making a Web Design Santa Cruz subpage because Google has already decided it likes your index page. That's the other problem, is that Google decides what page it likes, and then you got to kind of use the low-hanging fruit approach and say, okay, Google, you like that page for this query? Okay, well, I'll try and make it rank better for this query. Other people have social. Other people are a bit bigger. So now you're thinking, well, Josh, didn't you say I didn't want to have a blog? Yes, I did say that. And it's not going to help you rank for local. That is to say, it's not going to help you rank here, where I'm assuming all the clicks are. And I'm assuming there's not a lot of clicks down here. Even I'm assuming there's not that many clicks probably around here compared to here. But that's my assumption. But basically, the more bad articles you write, the more Panda is going to knock down the whole site. Panda works on a page basis, and it also works on a site basis. I've tested this in single variable experiments, both on purpose and accidentally. Happy accidents. So those clicks from real users helps you rank very quickly. It can work within days. So go back and check my SEO quickies and my weekly test result meetings for all the background on those tests there. I'm not going to go over. I'm just going over the highlights. I'm going over the end things of what you should do and why you should do it. Rest assured that some of this is based on all of this is based on the best evidence that you can get in SEO. I repeat, everything I'm saying here is based on the best evidence you can currently get in SEO, which usually is single variable experiments, not always, but usually. Okay, so I would say all that. That's what he needs to do there. Then I would go back to here and I would make a note here in the audit. All the stuff I said here, I'd make a note. I'd say, why are you running a blog? Blah, 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 blah. That's not really helping you. Okay, then I would get rid of this. Then I go to this search console. And I look at the structured data. Here's the first thing I look at. Some of this will be review from my video. I look for what kind of schema he's using. Kyle tested Schema, and he did not find any benefit whatsoever to using anything but product Schema. I think local Schema would help. I've never tested it, but I think local Schema would probably help. He's got service, question, answer. Service might help. Don't have any errors. Generally, it's a good sign in Google that if you have errors, it's probably a bad thing. Highlight HTML improvements. There's no duplicate titles. That's great. I would check here. Accelerated mobile pages. Don't have any. Fine. I would check. I've already checked his search analytics. I don't care. Links to his site. Okay, so here's where I would have some issue. I've noticed people doing this. This is a pretty good link to get. This is a highly authoritative page. I think you can get a link from here for like $100. Someone told me recently, or something like that. It might not be a bad thing to do. Here's what I would avoid. I would avoid these links from Blogspot. I guarantee to you these are useless, and that they probably are ignored entirely. I just bought a bunch of links on low quality spammy sites. I just ran a test, and I took a look at the kind of links, and none of them worked. So I'll check again to see if they work in a couple weeks. But when I normally see the boost from linking, I have seen no boost. I have seen no A/B testing either. I think it's because Google is ignoring these entirely. Sarush, I'm just talking here. How are we doing? Is there any burning questions I should answer at this moment in the chat? If there is, let me know.
Yeah, sure, but I'm not in YouTube, so maybe I have to open it up in some other
Okay, here,
place.
let me check.
I will let's
That's all right, Sarush. I'll check. I'll check. Okay, I see other people asking questions. Okay, I'll try and get back to these questions. Let me highlight here. Okay, so Jimmy's question, what is the best way to build DAPA? Get links with PA. That's the best way to do it. Jimmy, my friend, go back in this recording, and where I talk about linking, I talk about it here. And the best way to get DAPA is follow this formula. Go back in the recording where I talk about this twice. But the best way to get it is to buy it. Also with social, do you do a paid campaign? Yes, but my wife does the social for me, and she's great at it. She knows how to organically build it up. Do not buy some social campaign off of Fiverr. It's not going to help. You have to have a person who really knows how to do it and really can talk with people, who speaks English, who's super polite, who's super cool. You have to build it up right and properly. Otherwise, don't bother doing it. Don't bother doing it at all. Okay, back to, that's done, back to this. So I guarantee I would take a quick look in there. So this is all the backlink looking I do. That's it. And you might be like, whoa, what about Ahrefs? Shouldn't I be forensically looking through every single link they did? No. Google already bubbles up all the good and bad links right here. These are all the good and bad links right here. These are the bad ones. These are the good ones. This might be a bad one. And I don't need to go take a look at the rest of their links. Any of the questionable stuff would show up here. I know how to read this screen. I've seen it 500 times. So I don't need to go check anything else. And plus, there's nothing you can do here anyway. We're not going to go disavowing links, because disavowing links doesn't help. Disavowing links never helps. Sorry, I probably made that unlegible. Disavowing links never help. So I'm not going to go disavow any of these links that I find here anyway. I'm not going to tell them to delete any, because for all I know, it could be helping them. Every linking test I've tried, I have never negative SEO'd or sent bad link juice. All I've done is either nothing has happened. It A/B tested, so those were spammy links that were crap, and I just waited 3 weeks, and then it was fine. And either nothing happened, or it went up, So you just don't build more crappy links like this, is what I would tell the guy in my audit. Under suspect links, I would just say, here's your suspect links. Just stop doing that, is what I would say. Then I would go look at internal links. And here's a problem. So now, let's say this website maintenance packages. let's say this guy wants to rank for website maintenance packages. Look at all the little bit of link juice. He's getting 2% or 3% of the link juice of the rest of the site. I could tell you why this page is ranking here, because it has all the links. So this is not an optimized link juice, internal link juice distribution. So it all depends on what you want to rank. If you want website audit and free website audit to be what he ranks for, by the way, you should never offer a free website audit. It devalues yourself. It devalues website audits across the industry. And it's totally, the free website audit is not worth the paper that usually it's printed on. However, that's just an aside. If you wanted to rank for website audit and free website audit, then his internal link juice here is properly optimized. But if he wants to rank for any of these down here, then his website link juice is not optimized. So I would tell the client this. I would go to internal links. And I would say you have to link to the most important pages. You could also link from the index page if you want. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, then I look at manual actions. He has none. Great. I make a note of that. International targeting, country. He's auto-selected United States, United States has been auto-selected. That's fine. Keep in mind that this is important, right? So and Google will often auto-select this. So let's say you want to rank for all of the English-speaking world. Let's say you're running an affiliate site and you want to rank for all of English. If Google has selected United States here, then that means that you're going to be ranking lower in Canada, Australia, and England, because it's slightly higher in the United States. So you'd want to go in here. I don't have admin access, so I can't do it. But if you did a drop down, you'd select, here, I'll show you. So geograph. I say, hey, your geographic target's US. I explain the problem here. And you want to go in here and you want to select unlisted if you don't want there to be any geographic modification to your rankings. If you want to rank slightly better United States, then great. Then leave it the way it is. Okay. Then I check mobile usability. I see if there's any errors in here. If there are, those have to be fixed, especially if most of his traffic is mobile. And especially with this new mobile first indexing, Google has been asked, and they claim that they are ranking desktop sites with desktop factors and mobile sites with mobile factors. But I don't know if I trust them or not. We're going to have to do future testing there. Okay, then I check the index status. I see if they've lost a bunch of pages. If they have a graph, like, let me erase a bunch of this here. Okay, so let's say they have a page graph like this, and they had a bunch of pages. Oh, look at all my pages. And they lost a bunch of pages, and then it's down to like here, and they lost a bunch of rankings during this time, and they're like, what happened? Well, you lost all these pages, and so all the rankings those pages had are gone, and all that internal link juice, so the pages are gone, and all that internal link juice that you generated out of nothingness from having pages is now gone too. So try not to lose pages. That's why Google says don't delete pages if you think you have low quality content. Improve the content. There could be other reasons why they suggest that, but these are just the easy reasons to understand from a point blank scenario. So I check for that and I say, hey, you know why you lost all that ranking? Because you deleted these 10,000 pages. And then they say, oh, but someone on some Google forum said that I had low quality content, so I had to delete it. And I say, why the fuck did you believe some fucking idiot on a goddamn SEO forum? And why is it so hard for people to understand this? Sorry, I might be a little bitter from recent discussions. But yeah, don't, newsflash, Don't believe the person selling you magic beans unless they've got a whole bunch of experiments showing how the magic beans really, really work. Blocked resources. Now, we tested this, and I thought it was put to bed, but Google then gave a leak, and I was like, damn it. Apparently, all my apprentices listening, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but it doesn't matter for desktop rankings, but blocking resources that help render do matter for your mobile rankings, because they do process, and Ted already knew this, so Ted can be like, I knew this dude. He could say that to me if he wanted, and if Ted ever said the word dude, I don't think he's ever said the word dude in his life. Maybe he has, but he could be like, yo, dude. That's exactly the way Ted talks, by the way. Off camera, that's exactly the way Ted talks. Yo, dude. I'm being sarcastic. He doesn't talk this way at all. But he'd say, yo, dude, I already knew that Google totally rendered pages 3 days later. And he's right. They do for mobile. And so that's why you can't block it. That's what Google admitted. So you got to check to see if there's any blocked resources. If there are, you have to list them in the audit. Okay, let me go to crawl. Crawl errors. Now, you can say, okay, these pages are 404ing now. You could 301 these to new pages that exist if you want to retain that link juice. If you do not have a page, if he does not have a Salesforce stop spam oid page, if he doesn't have that, then you can 301 this to anything you like. It's going to be a soft 404, and Google's going to cut out the link juice anyway. So if you do have a complete content update for one of these pages, then if you 301 it, then it will, if you have any link juice coming in, because you have link juice coming in from somewhere, otherwise that's how Google found it. And then it's going to flow to the new page. So that could be also a problem you got to look at. Are you starting to see how complex it is, and why when people ask me in the chat, hey, why am I not ranking anymore? Any of the things I went over here, any of them could be the reason why you're not ranking. And I have not even gone through half of them yet. so that's why I'm like, well, I got to do an audit. I got to check every one of these things here. I said, all of them, any of them could be the reason why you're not ranking. And even more that I haven't gone through yet. Here's another thing. Now, this is just my experience. You never, ever, ever, oh my Lord, you never, ever, ever want to allow it to take 4.5 seconds for Google to download your page. We have tested speed in a single variable environment. It does reduce your rankings. And I guarantee you this is bad from a crawling perspective. My general rule of thumb that if your site is healthy in terms of quality, freshness, and speed, let's see if I can find it. Freshness, here we go. So crawl levels, though. Crawl levels are a factor of, and don't worry, guys, I'm going to go through this audit document in full so you get to read the whole thing of what I think is important, presuming I have time. I'm going to go through how I do it first, and I'm going to go through the whole document. So crawl levels are a factor of server speed, 1, 2, freshness of your content and topic, and 3, quality. And so when I see this should be 20% of this, I've done hundreds of audits, and this is just my anecdotal from the hip SEO guru guess, but this really should be 10% of this number. This should be 20. When I see this number is less and much less than 10% of this, that's when I know you have a speed problem. Hey, here it is. I found it. Or you have a freshness problem for your content, or you have a quality problem. So this is another piece of evidence. I now have 2 pieces of evidence. I have Google doing weird things in terms of the info colon search, and I have Google. That's one minor piece of evidence. Maybe it's on, maybe it's off. But then I also have, oh, this should be 10% of this. Now the plot is starting to thicken. All right, I don't have a smoking gun yet, but the plot is starting to thicken. I know there's at least a speed issue. But this number should be 10% of this, or should be higher. So now I'm starting to be like, okay. Here's other stuff I would do. And I'll do it now before I forget. First off, I would just search the domain the entity. I just search the entity and see what comes up. Okay, this is a good sign. Both their come back. Both the their entity here, their review from their Google My Business comes up. Great. And their site comes up first for this. Great. When you don't see this, this is a huge entity quality problem right there. So for example, if I had put in their brand, their entity, and say LinkedIn came first or Facebook came first, that's a really bad sign. And Strident didn't show up at all or showed up down here, that's a very bad sign that Google does not think you're the authoritative response for your entity. And again, this is all just kind of my from the hip kind of determinations. But every time I see that in the wild, that site always has quality problems, always has ranking problems, always. So that's another kind of diagnostic thing I would do. Another thing I'm going to do here, of course, I would do a speed test. I would use web page. No, not test pages. I don't give a shit about that. Web page test. Here we go. And unless I had Santa Cruz in this list, San Francisco is close. My only problem with this testing tool is it doesn't have enough cities in it. Like for example, if I want it, like for Canada, it has Toronto. Like, I mean, I'm going to make a very Canadian complaint, but Toronto is not the center of Canada. I mean, it is more in the center of Canada geographically, but it's not the only city in Canada. I mean, it'd be nice if there was Vancouver and Halifax on here, or a few other ones that I could use for Canadian stuff. But anyway, San Francisco is kind of close to Santa Cruz, I guess. It's not that close. LA is closer, isn't it? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, so I'll use LA, and I'll put it here. I'll use 3G because that's what Google says I should use, because that's what they say is the speed that most people have. I'll do first view only, and then I will start the test, and we'll see how long it takes for a mobile user to get this. That'll process for a while. It'll take a while. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions. Jimmy says, can you hire my wife? For what? What are you saying here, Jimmy? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, of course. Her social packages are $500 a month. That's just for her thing, for what she does. But she's very good at it. Check out Forever Metal, for example. She does their social. She does a whole bunch of other socials. She'll give you her examples of what she does. She's very, very good at it. And there definitely is a boost in terms of all the social boosts for SEO. She's definitely doing those in conjunction with her social. So email me, and it's $500 for her to. She does her own thing. She doesn't give discounts. She doesn't give a shit. You sign up or don't. She's very nice, but she's, when it comes to that stuff, she's not fooling around. Darren asks, if there's a site with a blog, do you redirect to new pages? I don't understand what you mean, man. If there's a site with a blog, do you redirect to new pages? I don't understand how you mean that. Type your question again.
Maybe he means that if the blog, you said that blog is not good for your website, so do you redirect the blog to your main website or something?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Sarush. Thank you, Assistant Sarush. I feel like I'm a tenured professor, and you're like my teaching assistant or something. I feel like Dr. Jones, and you're my assistant. Wrong country though. And Darren says local site. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, well, here's the problem: is that now that you've made a blog site, now you have to make the bad decision of deciding whether or not you're going to get rid of all that page authority. And if you have a client, you have to explain to them why their rankings are going down. And so it's kind of, yeah, I see. He means if he gets rid of the blog on local. It depends. It depends on how well you're ranking. It depends if there's customers coming from some of those long tail. Sometimes you actually get customers from the long tail, like in a lot of lawyer sites, they're ranking for like how to beat a DUI in Houston. And so you're getting a lot of people who actually have DUIs in Houston who are clicking on that page, and then a whole bunch of them are like, do you get a DUI? And they're like, yes, I did. How'd you know? And they click it, and you convert them, right? So in that case, no, you wouldn't get rid of the blog because it's helping. But in the case where you're not getting any conversions from it and it's not helping at all, yeah, it's not going to help you. I would separate them out. I would change all that onto blog.whatever.com because that subdomain is a totally different site. And then I would tailor the local site to be a brochure sales site, cram them in to get your services and optimize for your services as quickly and as salesy as possible. Okay. So the test failed. I've never seen that in my life. That has never happened. I've used this tool 1,000 times, and that has never occurred. Invalid browser Chrome. Okay. They don't like Google. Okay, we'll rerun the test here and see what happens, but I've never seen that happen before in my life. That was really weird. Okay, and I'm surprised that we're waiting at the front of the queue for LA. That's weird too. Okay, so we'll let that run, and I'll go back to here. Here's the next thing I would check. This is very, very important. So I would go to mobile, and I will fetch and render. You need to fetch and render on mobile and make sure that this shows up correctly, because if it doesn't, John Mueller has said multiple times this is going to be a problem. I do not have a single variable test to confirm that, but when John Mueller says this so much and makes that whiny tone in his voice, I know to interpret those tells, if you will, and to believe what he's saying. We can also test it as well. If you guys are keeping a list of stuff to test, by all means, it's something we could test. So I check that out. Here's another thing I check out. I check out URL parameters. Okay, I try to configure the URL parameters. Here's another thing, and this is a little old, and you don't necessarily need to do this anymore. But a lot of people don't realize here that on some e-commerce sites, for example, like you remember 5-7 years ago, everyone's going crazy about the original Panda. And really what it was is that Google put out this page. It didn't exist previously. And they were seeing these kinds of URL parameters. And if the URL parameters were giving you duplicate content, they would just suddenly ignore 100,000 URLs on your site. And they were losing rankings because of that. Like I said, if you lose a whole bunch of pages on your site, you're going to lose rankings. They're not going to rank anymore because those pages don't exist, and you're losing the internal link juice. So that's why you need to watch out in this screen here if you have a bunch of URLs that you may not have realized. 2, you don't want URL parameters in your navigation. John Mueller has said, again, very strongly, that if you have URL parameters in your navigation, Google considers that low quality, and they consider that cruft. You do not want URL parameters in your sitemap or in your navigation. That is directly from John Mueller. And finally, 3, as I would indicate here in the URL parameter section where I would list whether they have URL parameter issues, you can be subject to a very nasty negative SEO attack if you serve 200 on these URL parameters, or even on hash URLs as well. And so you need to, and if you don't canonical these URL parameters, these URL parameters back to an actual main page, that means that if I'm serving 200 on any URL parameter, I could send 100,000, porn, child porn, Viagra links to a site and confuse Google to think that that site does nothing but child porn. Again, that's something on my list to test to see if it really works. It has been warned against by Google a bunch of times. So we would have to figure that out. If it still is actually a problem, I'm not entirely sure, but we'd have to check that out. Okay, let's go back to our speed test here. Wow, it failed again. Okay, I've never seen that. I'm going to guess that either this is broken or the LA one is broken. So I'm going to select Oregon, which is what I always use just to get a consistent reading. And I'm going to try this. And it's checking Chrome, Firefox, Opera, so maybe I'll get a better result. And there's hardly anyone ever in Oregon using this thing, so I get my test done usually pretty quick. Let's go back to Search Console here. And okay, so now I will check. So I click this. Some of you might not know this. if you click this little check mark, you will get, when you do a render request, you will get, wow, Googlebot saw the page and how your visitor would see the page. And these two need to be identical. If these are not identical, then we have a problem that I need to tell the client about, and they are identical. And I do need to tell the client about all these low problems, even if it's blocking out their Google services. Low is not such an issue. This would be like, I would put this in the minor section on the audit, just to cover my ass in case I'm trying to rank this client and nothing's working and I'm scratching my head as to why. When I start scratching my head, then I start looking at these kind of problems that are probably not a problem, but I want to rule them out anyway because now I'm having trouble ranking these guys. And so I have to list this in the audit. But if you see medium or high in here, that's definitely a problem you need to deal with. And usually that would involve this and this not looking the same. So this is why you need to worry about this, because on mobile, Google said it's important. Then last but not least here, I would check the security issues and make sure there is no hacked content on this site. I have seen it. Out of maybe 500 audits, I've seen it maybe 3 times. So it does happen. It does happen. I have seen it. Okay. So that's all I'm doing here. Now I go back to here. We finally have the speed test. Okay. And all right. So I'm going to rerun this test. So here's another problem. We have I don't know if you guys can see this, but we have about a 4-second first byte time. That is terrible. That's about as terrible as it gets. So it's entirely possible that this testing thing is broken. I'm going to rerun the test and see if I get the same results. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's go back here, see if there's any other questions. It's really slow, even in New York. Interesting. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. I guess you're meaning the speed testing tool. Yeah, I try to avoid big cities. If you mean the speed testing tool, Darlene, I try to avoid the big cities because it is very slow. Okay, it's come back again, and it's got the same time. So I'm going to assume that's how long it takes to load this page. That's a terrible, terrible thing. So you want to look down here. You want to see what the images in the JS is taking up most of the requests, and what's taking up the most bytes. The images and the JS is taking the most bytes. So clearly, this website has too much JavaScript for some reason, and that needs to be removed. This is way too long. I've proven in single variable tests, and Kyle has also proven in single variable tests that this will cause a ranking problem. So then I need to tell the client, okay, this needs to get down to 5 seconds. You need to remove 4 seconds off of this. He literally needs to remove 4 seconds off of this, and this needs to get down to 0.4 seconds. It's taking way too long to get from his server. The DNS and SSL connection only takes 0.5 seconds. His server is taking apparently 4 seconds to get this information, and there's way too much JavaScript. All this JavaScript needs to get removed, and this whole thing needs to be pared down. Quite frankly, and no offense, but a website this ugly does not need all that JavaScript and stuff. So you need a designer and a developer who know what they're doing to go through this and to make it so this web page that you start out with for some reason is not so big, and all this JavaScript that you're loading here, for whatever reason you're loading this JavaScript, whatever it is and why you're loading it, you need to remove it. The fonts here, you need to use system fonts. Don't use Google fonts, use system fonts. Just bite the bullet and use Helvetica or something that is on every single operating system. And get rid of all the CSS here too. You don't need it. So this definitely needs to be, this would be priority 1. I wouldn't even start an SEO campaign for this person until they fix this. I'm dead serious. I put them on monthly services, and I'd say, great, I'll take your money while I'm fixing this, or whatever's going on. But I would not start any SEO until this is fixed, because it's going to screw up all the results. So this should be like 0.4 seconds, and it should be interactive long before 9 seconds. It should, and it might be. The DOM should be interactive within 2 seconds, not within 8 seconds. This is way, way, way too long. Now, this might be slightly wrong. This test might be slightly off. That's not the point. This is taking way, way, way too long. So then I would list that in the audit here. I'd show you where I would list it. I'll go over the audit last as kind of a recap. Okay, now I go to analytics. What do I check in analytics for an audit? I will show you. I'm hoping things are big enough you can see what's going on. I go to overview and I check these things. Okay, first off, I have just a number in my head. Again, if it's a from the hip, I've been doing SEO 20 years. This is kind of what I want to see for this kind of site. A returning visitor of 7.2%, I guess, is okay. Does this site have real traffic? I'm not really sure. If it was a blog, and it is a blog, remember, it's not supposed to be a blog, but it is, I would want to see this around 20%. If people are not coming back to read this blog, then there's a problem. The bounce rate is only so low, probably because he's installed my JavaScript to track sessions for one-page sessions as well, which is important. It's not important. It's great if you can add it. I don't always add it. It's not always such a big deal. I can tell he's added that or not by going to behavior and going to events and saying the overview and see if, oh, it doesn't look like it's added. Okay. Well, I don't know what's going on here then as to why this would be 2.15%. See, and I don't always trust analytics. Analytics screws up a whole bunch of times. So I would kind of ignore this bounce rate. I don't care. Bounce rate in some circumstances does make a difference, a big difference actually. But if I can't get a reliable kind of metric as to what it truly is, and this number looks very suspicious to me without having my JavaScript installed, then I don't know if my JavaScript's installed, and I don't know if the first page visits are low either. I don't want to go through and explain why that is, because it takes a while to explain, but you just can't always trust what analytics is saying, and I would use more software to determine. Okay, so speaking of which, what would I do? Well, first off, I want to check the mobile usage, because I'm worried about this mobile first indexing. And quite often you'll be surprised that it's usually the other way around. Mobile is usually the most used for a lot of different people. So this is a bad example. This site's not the greatest example for an audit, because I don't know if he's getting real traffic here. I don't know. It's kind of a, you'll forgive me for saying this, Dan, but it's kind of a cheap, chintzy, trying to get marketing services. It's kind of a spammy site. Again, Dan, I apologize. You'll forgive me for saying that, I hope. It's not necessarily the best example, but he was one of the first people to answer. So to the hustler gets the spoils. Here's the problem, though. But let's say you want to check to see the difference, right? So on mobile, they're bouncing way more than they are on desktop. They're going to less pages, and they're spending less time. So that tells me that there is a problem with the mobile design. The mobile is not as compelling. There is a problem with it that will cause a ranking issue if he doesn't even have a mobile design. I can check to see if he does. I could do Command Option I in Mac, and then I'll reload this for responsive. And this is his mobile design here. It would look like this. And so he does have a mobile design. It's about as fantastic as the desktop design. It looks a bit better on mobile, actually, than desktop. Wait a second. I just noticed something else when I got into that. Go back into this. There's something wrong with this SSL certificate. I would probably copy this, and I don't understand what this what error this is. It might have something to do with the SSL certificate, and I would give it to the client and say, you deal with this. Okay, so going back to here. So again, not a lot of super magic I look at in here. Behavior, acquisition. I'll go to social. I'll say, do you have any social clicks? Which I know clicks are a ranking factor. No, there's no social action going on here whatsoever. So remember, out of the three things I said are a ranking factor, on-site, quality, and off-site, and I said part of it is links, the other part is social, he's got actually zero social whatsoever. So all his off-page efforts are going to be links unless he gets some social going, which there's none, which I would list in my audit report. I'll review all this. And here is where some of the magic is in user flow. So under audience user flow, this is where I start to see the pogo sticking, and this is where I start to see the quality and get a sense of how the quality is running. I get to see what country is ranking in and make sure the sanity check that makes sense. United States, it makes sense. Now I start to see some of the quality of what's going on. So I see, first off, people are dropping off the site, mostly drop-offs. 37% are dropping off here. 12% are dropping off here. That's not fantastic. 70% are dropping off here. Out of his starting sessions, 274 are dropping off and going back to Google, I presume. Now, if they're coming from Google, they're going back to wherever they're going for. I just tested bounce back to Google rate, and it did not test well. It tested very, very, very poorly. So as far as any bounce rate that matters, his bounce rate is 274 divided by 325. 84% of people are bouncing off his site and going back to wherever they came from, which is Google, which is Facebook, which is wherever it is. It doesn't matter. But he has an 84% SEO bounce rate. I repeat, by doing the math on these numbers, he has an 84% SEO bounce rate. I guarantee to you that is a bad ranking factor that he's going to have to deal with. I guarantee it because John Mueller wouldn't stop talking about it. And I've tested it a number of times in single variable tests, and it came out bad every time. I admit there's more testing to do there to isolate some more factors, but it didn't look good. So the evidence I have right now on multiple levels is saying, no, do not do this. 84% SEO bounce rate is bad. And I could say that more than just whistling Dixies, more than just my opinion. I have some evidence to back this up. Single variable even. Here's the other problem, is the pogo sticking, which also tested very bad in my recent test. Go to SEO Quickies and watch my 1-hour experiment I just did last week. Pogo sticking tested bad and still is testing bad. People go to the index page, then are they pogo sticking? Are they going to this page? They're going to Web Design Company, they're going to index, they're going to this page, they're going back. Now it's not a lot. It's 4 people, 6 people, 4 people are going to web design, 6 people go back to index. So it's not a huge amount. But if I was seeing because 12% are leaving, but if I'm seeing stuff like landing page, they go from this landing page to this page to this page, I'm seeing a lot of pogo sticking here. They're bouncing around the site. That is not a good sign for if you want to rank this page or if you want to rank any of the middle pages that are not ending the search. So again, we want to try and stop this pogo, and it's also a sign that people don't like the site. It's a possible sign that people don't like the site, and it's against the 2012 Panda patent. So this is the kind of stuff that I would point out. I would say, hey, look at the best kind of search. The best kind of search is one where Google, they do a search on Google, they go to your page, and they convert. That's it. They do a search, they click you, they go to your page, they read what they want to read, they close the tab. The search phase is done. And there's happy mouse movements here. I've done this test. It works. It also works from traffic from outside as well. That's the best kind of scenario. The more you add pages here that they're bouncing to, the worst is when they bounce back. This is the bounce back to SERP. You do not want that. Okay, I could even use a color here to differentiate that. Here's a maraschino cherry kind of deal. Okay. If they bounce back to here, this is not good. That's not what you want. And every bounce back they're doing to a new page, to here, then back to here, and then they go to another new page, to here, and bouncing around, this is not helping terminate the search. This is the kind of signals that are giving you bad quality signals. I've tested this, and I've tested this in single variable tests, and those pages did get drops. They did go down. They did rank the worst over the longest. So I repeat, I've tested pogo sticking, going from one page and back. Sorry, that would be, to make it clear, that would be here. I have tested that, and these pages did not rank very well. I got the pogo stick, and I have tested bounce back to SERP, bounce to SERP. I have tested this, and this ranked even worse. This was the worst signal. This one had the worst ranking drops. So you do not want that kind of scenario, and this is what this tells me. This is what this number tells me, that we have a bounce back to SERP, and this is what this tells me about the pogo sticking. And also, when I highlight this, check out this, I can highlight traffic through here, and I can see how the bounce backs are working, right? I can turn that off. I can go through here, I can hide the traffic through here, and I can see, okay, 65 went through here, and then they're bouncing around. This does not look too good. Clear that off. And look what else I can do. I can group details, and I can see, oh, look at the drop-off rate. This is not a good sign. And look at the time on page. That is not a good sign either. So if you, I don't know, it looks to me like he has some kind of JavaScript running that tracks actual time on page. Otherwise, this number probably wouldn't be so low. So let's assume for the sake of argument, I don't know if this person did. Let's assume for the sake of argument that this person has installed my JavaScript tracking code for analytics that will track every user on the site up to 5 seconds. And so this is an accurate one-page bounce time. If people are going to your blog page and they're staying there 19 seconds, then how many do you think actually terminated the search? How many do you think that was the scenario where they went here and they left, as opposed to they went here, they didn't like what they got, and they went back and clicked another result on this SERP? Because it's the last one, the one that terminates the search, is the one that definitely seems to get the good signal. That's bad for you. It's good for them. So it's your best guess. It's a guess you're making. And then also, let's say this was an e-commerce scenario. If 98% of people are dropping off here and none of them are going to your shopping cart.html or your shopping cart page, well, then I know you're not making conversions, and I know you're not terminating the search. You're not making sales or terminating the search. So that's what other SEOs who learned it from me were saying recently, that that's a problem. You're right. It is a problem. I would fully agree. At the end of the day, we would need to make sales. So I can guarantee if your shopping cart, if the drop off rate's this high, we want to see them going to the shopping cart. What does this page have to monetize? So if I wanted to buy, where would I click? I don't even see where I would click. Read more. Yeah, I want web design. Okay, good. Sell it to me. Where do I go? Web design, taking too slow. Request quote. That goes to contact. Okay. So presumably, contact here, and this is confusing. Why do you have the request quote button on the contact page? That's going to confuse them. Notice 65% of people are apparently clicking it. Again, you can't always trust that. You need to install Crazy Egg. You can't always trust the clicks you're getting out of analytics, but that's going to tell you a bit. So let's see. How many people, so let's duplicate this right now because I'm not done quite talking about this. Duplicate this analytics page here. And let's go to site content, all pages. And out of the last month, we got 400 unique page views, and only 12 of them went to contact. So that is a conversion rate of what? 4%? 5%? Right? That's assuming they even filled. That's assuming they filled this out or called. I would ask the client how many people actually filled this out in the last month. How many calls did you actually get? You got 12 unique people. How many calls did you actually get? I guarantee you it's going to be lower than 12. So anyway, at best, when it comes to being a services website, this guy has got a, oh, I'm sorry, a 3% conversion rate. At best, 2.6% conversion rate. And that, again, assumes every single person who got here, all 12 of them, filled this out and asked for services. Which I guarantee, of course, is probably not the case. I could be wrong, but it'd be very rare that would be the case. So again, that's not terminating the search. That's a bunch of pogo sticking to the contact and them going nope and going back to the SERP page. This is the SERP. Example. This is page, your page 1. This is your page 2, etc., etc. This is how the quality algorithms are working. And they work fast. They track the users fast. They're tracking everything everyone's doing, everywhere you're clicking, and they know if you're a real human or not. Do not ask me if bots work, BOT. They do not. Not yet. Ted might get it to work. If anybody can get it to work, it's Ted. But they do not work yet. You have to do it the white hat way. At the end of the day, you want to make sales. It doesn't matter if you push, 1,000 people to here. That's not going to help you rank any. That's not really going to help you out. At the end of the day, you want sales anyway. So you have to improve the conversion rate of this page. And to do that, we'd install Crazy Egg, which I'm going to be talking about in a second. We're going to go to Crazy Egg here, and we're going to start looking, because I got this guy here on a couple of different things. We're going to look at it. So let me finish this point, though, first. So that I would check that out. Let's just see here. Dan says, yes, the JS code is installed. Okay, great. Okay, so then I can rely. Thank you, Dan. So that means I can rely on this number here. When I get this number here and I check the group details, people are spending an average of a minute and a half. And see, you'd think, well, isn't a long, oh, that's pretty good. That's not too bad. No, it's not. It's not good. 63% of people are just bouncing off his index page. 63 people have get to his index page here, go, nope, and they go back here. That is not what you want. I guarantee to you that is a bad ranking signal. Probably your worst ranking signal. Probably the thing that's holding you back the most is this right here. And you wouldn't know that for actual fact if I hadn't single variable tested it, which I have. And the other thing, you're like, well, isn't a minute and a half average time on group good? No, not really. This is a sales page. This is supposed to be a sales page. Why would it take them a minute and a half to convert? I mean, maybe it would. Maybe it's a long sales page where you talk a lot about different stuff, and they have to read, like a bunch of different information. And like my emails, my sales emails I send you guys, that's like a long sales page. That's what that's called, with a lot of highlighted crap and sensational claims. That's the long sales page, right? If that's the way you're selling, fine, great. But that's not what you got here. You got a brochure. You got kind of a 1995 design here. And so that's supposed to draw them in. Why is it taking them on average a minute and 40 seconds for them to trust you enough to click on one of these results? The time here should not be, it should be 30 seconds. And it should be a 2% drop-off rate. In 30 seconds, 98% of them should go, I know, I want these services. I have been sold properly. I trust these people. I see the value in what they're selling, and I'm going to click this and get it right now. That's what you need to do. And so I don't even need to look at Crazy Egg to tell you, when we look at Crazy Egg, we're not going to like what we see. It's not going to give us a resounding kind of, yes, there's quality here. but I'll show you how to analyze Crazy Egg anyway, because it gives you better stuff than an analytics does. But when the code's installed, I get some pretty good numbers. Also, let's look at your blog pages. Okay, they're staying on the blog for 17 seconds, and 95% of them are going away. That's how useful your blog pages are. So now I need to make an educated guess if this blog page is. So they want to know what the best CMS for small business is. Okay, here's a list of okay. So here's a list of CMSs you've got here. Remember, 97% of people leave here in 17 seconds. They're not reading this. They're not reading any of this. I want to see what happens when we put this in Crazy Egg. You have click bleed here for them to go away to different websites. Again, we need Crazy Egg to see what they're doing. 47% of the people are leaving the site on this page. That's not good. Virtually no one is going to any other pages on the site. That's not good. And look at your internal linking here. You might be getting some juice from this, internal link. But you only talk about design in 3 places. See them here? And we just did recent empirical testing to prove that actually internal links don't give you any juice or any benefit whatsoever unless this page is about web designers. So you're or web design. You're trying to rank for a web design company. This is not a page talking about web design companies. So this internal link is not giving you any juice. And you didn't necessarily need to do this anyway if you pushed your internal link juice around correctly anyway. But I'm saying that tentatively because I might find that content silos and I might find that orphan child pages actually help. Of course, this is not an orphan child page. This is linked to from your blog. And it doesn't link up necessarily to your web design company page. It links across. So this might not be the orphan child page scenario, but for the sake of argument, I'm not sure if this link is actually helping you because you don't talk about. Do you talk about companies here at all? We do talk about companies 4 times. So maybe it'll help. But do you ever talk about web design companies? No, you don't talk about web design companies here once. So that semantic web design company does not appear on this page once. So it's not going to help your web design company page rank at all for this web designer link. This is not, I don't think this is probably due to our testing. According to our testing, I don't think this is actually how, I don't think this is actually helping you at all. And anyway, this is not how you do internal linking. Not according to how I would do it now, which is just have it in your navigation and push the juice from the source of your external PA to your internal PA, and how I might change doing it in the future by adding orphan child page kind of mini clusters linking up. But I doubt that this is helping you. So this is not helping you from a user perspective. They're bouncing in 16 seconds. I strongly doubt they've read this page. Maybe they clicked on these links. We'd have to use Crazy Egg to see if this is helping you. A blog page is not helping a local site anyway, rank for local queries. And it might be hurting you because a bunch of people leave the site from here. And it has a 95% drop-off rate. So only 5% of them really stay on the site. So it's not really helping on multiple fronts. That's that one. I would check this one. Again, 41 seconds. Oh, people are staying on the free website audit though. Most people stay. So this is maybe working. This is maybe helping out. This is not too bad. And why do we have 2 different? What is this? What is free website audit / landing? Oh, this could be like some kind of campaign you're doing, like some kind of This could very well be some internal, some paid linking you're doing here. Where is this page indexed? Hey, tell me if this page is indexed. Where is the stupid thing? Grr. Oh, no index tag found. So it's not, yeah, this is not indexed. It doesn't matter. Well, here's the problem, is that whether this page is indexed or not, it's not supposed to, no index page are not supposed to have any problems for traffic. And that's what Google says. And so we have never tested it. I wanted to test it. So that's on our list to test. But so right now I have to go with Google, what Google says. And they say that if you no index, it's fine. So that's why there's two of them here. And finally, last but not least, I would look at all these and I would look at all these drop-off rates. And I would say, these are not going to your contact. 4 people went to your contact page. 100% of them left the site. So out of the 4 people, maybe you terminated the search. Maybe you got 4 emails. Maybe that was a good thing. Okay, so that's kind of using analytics, how I would try and tell what's going on. Then if I wanted to go to Crazy Egg and give a kind of a better determination of what's going on with quality, I would go here to Crazy Egg. Now let me see here. I've got a whole bunch of different clients in here. Let's see here. This is a Stridon. This is a Stridon. This is a Stridon. This is a Stridon. This is some other client site probably. Yeah. This is probably somebody else I was going to do a thing for. So here's how Crazy Egg works. This one's pending. So this didn't ever get installed. But this one got installed. It only got 41 visits. So I'm going to use this one. And just as an example, the best CMS one got 22 visits. So I would like to use more than just 22 visits as an example, but let's take a look. Okay, so Crazy Egg is going to give you a snapshot and recordings. The recordings are just as useful as the snapshot. The snapshot gives you a sense of where people clicked, as you can see. So this is interesting. So you are getting people clicking on these. So there's 2 people here at least got some value. Some people clicked on pricing. Here's the first thing I look at. Out of 23 visits, he's got 14 clicks. That, I would rather see 23 visits and 23 clicks. That means 100% of the people interacted. Again, this is only 22 visits or 23 visits. That's not a lot of data to make any determinations from. But out of the 23 visits, 14 of them clicked. That's a higher percentile, so that's not too bad. This would look much worse if it was 23 visits and like 4 clicks. That would look much worse. And some of them are clicking on what you want them to click on. The list of CMSs that you got here, and they're clicking on WordPress. And none clicked on the animals. I find that interesting. And they're clicking down here. Also, you need to take a look here at not only the heat map, you take a look at the scroll map and see what people are actually seeing. So the blue is what they didn't see. The green is what they did see. That's green, right? I don't know. I'm colorblind. But so most people saw this green stuff here, this brighter color stuff. What they did not see was down here in this blue stuff. So that's pretty good. That's not bad, actually. So they don't care about the author tag. That's not too bad. And then when we do the overlay, I would open all up, and I would see the actual clicks. So you got 1 click here, 1 click here. Now it's not showing up all the clicks for some reason. I saw more clicks before. What is going on here? Open all, both. Oh, there we go. Okay, people are clicking around here, just tapping, probably on their phones. People clicked on this, which is probably this, that block. So they're clicking around. So it's not too bad. So these metrics I'm seeing here are not as bad as I thought I would see. This blog page is partially succeeding in informing them in other stuff and not making you any sales. So if that's what you want to do, great. But it's again a problem for all the other reasons that I mentioned. Let's go back here and look at this spam page solved. This is more what you want to see. So this is kind of contradicting what I saw in analytics. In analytics, things didn't look good. And again, things are not looking good in terms of these metrics that I know de-rank you. In terms of this, bounce back to SERP, and in terms of pogo sticking, we did see that. But in terms of users landing on blog pages, which it looked bad, it's actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad if you look at the Crazy Egg. Out of 44 visits, we have 58 clicks. That's good. That's what you want to see. So they're clicking around. They're interacting with it. Oh, a lot of people looked at your example here. A lot of people looked at this example here. That's fantastic. So you get people clicking. So that's a good thing. A lot of people are clicking here. Your ad probably, and checking this stuff out. So that's not a bad thing to see. The scroll map, again, they're scrolling down. They're not just seeing the bottom of the page is the only thing they're missing. And on the list, here actually overlay, both, open all. You'll see where they're clicking. So you get a sense if they're clicking what you want them to click. I guess you want these people to click. 25 people here are clicking whatever this is related to. Here's the problem is that you don't always know what it's related to. They're clicking on your examples here, and they're trying to highlight your examples. So I presume that's what you want. So that's not a bad thing. So like I said, your blog is partially succeeding in informing people and leading them away from your site and not making sales. It's definitely not really helping you rank locally. It's not, in my opinion, not the way to go. Now let's see here. I want to make sure I have time. So I'm not going to go through everything again, but I think this protein thing here was another person. And you notice I checked desktop for that one. That's because what the most of his traffic was. You got to check what most of your traffic is. If most of your traffic is on phone, you got to check on phone. And I want to show you. I want to show you how Crazy 8 can do that. So let's take a look at this protein page here. This is the Impact Whey Protein page. Then we got My Protein. Then we got Muscle Food. So let's take a look at how well these are doing here. So here's the phone. This is not as good. We got more visits, so we got a better idea what's going on, but only less than 30% of people who came to this page interacted with it. So this is what a bad sign would look like in Crazy Egg. And we can see what they got, what problem we had. We can see it already. We can see they clicked here. Okay, they clicked my best flavors. If that's what we want them to click, then the 30% that did interact, great, the less than 30%. But we can see what they're tapping here on their phone. You can see what they like. They like this list of ingredients here. They're interacting with it. Oh, and here's your affiliate link, I'm assuming, and only 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 taps on it. So that's not what you want. Out of, let's say, I'm just guessing, but let's say out of 340 visits, you got 4 taps on your affiliate link. That it's like what, a 1% conversion rate, a 2% conversion rate? That's not what you want. So that's not what you want at all. You want a higher conversion rate than that, because we can only assume that the rest were upset. They bounced back to SERP, or they're bouncing around your site, and that's a low quality signal. That's not what you want to show Google. Another thing we can tell to determine that is the scroll map. Here's what they see. Here's what the average fold is, by the way, and that tells you what you want them to see. Only 65% of people saw this. Only 28% of people saw this. This is them scrolling quickly and then stopping, scrolling quickly and stopping. How many people saw your affiliate link? Where is it? Well, nobody saw this. This is useful content. Nobody gives a shit. It's too long. This only needs to be here if it's helping you rank from a on-page perspective. Where's your affiliate link? Oh, here it is, and only 15% of people saw it. So that's a very, very bad sign. Let's say this is your affiliate link. I'm not even sure if it is, but just for the sake of example, let's say this is your affiliate link. Only 15% of people who came to this page saw it. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible sign. So you need to rearrange how this works. What would you do? You might want to experiment having a floating button that always is at the bottom of the screen for mobile that they can tap always to make a sale. You might want to have an exclamation mark on the top right-hand side that they click and says, if you want to try it out now, try it here, and they can click to make it smaller. They can keep reading the article, so they always know where the conversion button is. This is a terrible sign if this is your conversion button, because only 15% of people saw it. And last but not least, I would look at the overlay. I would get the actual stats. I'd see where they're clicking here. 107 clicks. Where is the most? 32 clicks on this, whatever this is. Is this going to a certain spot? Well, you better make this your best spot, because 32% of 32 clicks are clicking on it. That in red means that's one of the higher clicks, right? That's 30%. Okay, they're clicking other stuff. Do you want them clicking this stuff? This is all click bleed. If you want them clicking your affiliate link, you don't want them to have other stuff to click on unless it's just the affiliate link. They could just be tapping around. Okay, you only had 2% of clicks on your affiliate link here. Sorry, you had 2 clicks. That's 2% on your affiliate link. I'm assuming if this is your affiliate link, if that's what it is, that's not great. Again, we saw the reason why. It's because no one's scrolling down to see it, because they don't care for whatever reason. So that could be a number of problems. It could be the fact that you didn't properly sell them. You didn't have a proper title and meta to sell them. You're not ranking for the right query. So you're not properly preparing the traffic that comes from here to go to here. You're not properly preparing them because they're expecting X and instead they see Y. So then they get upset, and that's not what you want. Also, the other problem here is could be a number of things. The design is too long, but they don't like the design. It's too wordy. They don't like the wording. They don't like these page contents. Maybe this is not helping them at all. Again, you don't have only 15% of people are seeing your buttons. 55% of people saw this one, so that's better than 15%. But let's say if this was your affiliate link, only half of them are seeing it. Again, that's a problem. You don't want half of people seeing your affiliate link. You want 100% of people seeing your affiliate link. So again, you need to make some design changes here to make it better. And there's a bunch of things you can do. Like I said, make a floating kind of link at the bottom, or like a link that always floats at the top that you can always click to get to try your free promo, that kind of a deal, with a good call to action that uses one of the top 5 psychology power words: free, you, new, best, good, words like that. Now, all those words are power words that social psychology has proven that get you increased clicks. Now, what if you're confused? So that was a perfect example of things going wrong. So what if you're confused as to what you need to do? What if you're like, oh, I don't know why they don't like it. Why don't they like my page? What's going on? Well, in Crazy Egg, you can go to recordings. And I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if I have any recordings in here that's going to work. I don't want to show you client recordings, but I can show. What are the ones that are not doing too well here? Did we do any recordings of? Okay, so everyone, let's be quiet. Let's not tell my customer here that hopefully they're not a mentor, and hopefully if they are, they don't mind me showing their site. But here's how the recordings work in Crazy Egg, and we're going to see a duration of 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 13 seconds. These are all things going wrong, and so now you're going to be able to, when you watch the recording, you're going to be able to tell, and I'm going to play it here. This guy sell gold grills. You're going to be able to tell. Okay, so they just what I have right now is skip pauses on. So let me so let me turn off autoplay and turn off skip pauses because it's not making any sense. Let me go back to the first one here. Okay, so Now it takes 8 seconds. I turned off skip pauses. I'm going to adjust the playback speed to be 2 times. So watch very closely. It's going to go quickly. It's going to take 4 seconds. But so they got here on tablet, looks like, or on mobile on Safari at 375 by 667. That's probably the iPhone 6, actually. So they got here. They looked at it. They scrolled down. They said, nope. You're like, okay. That tells you a bit of a picture. Here's the next one. They looked at it. They're like, nope, they didn't like it for whatever reason. They got here. They looked at it. They scrolled down. They looked at the price. They said, nope. Did you see that? You saw what happened? They scrolled down. The price was visible. I guarantee to you they didn't like that price, right? You watch enough of these. Now, you do this 100 times, and it really starts to paint a picture of what people are not liking on this site and what you need to change. Let's watch some more. Here's another one. That's going to take 13 seconds. Okay, they went to the page. Who knows why they don't like this particular one? Maybe because they thought grills are ugly, and why would I ever want to buy one? I don't know. I'm not in that culture. I apologize for people who love grills and think they're great. I mean, no offense whatsoever. Again, here's another example of, look, they made a little interaction at the back. They looked at this page on Android. They're like, $200, never mind. I guarantee you, again, it's the price. Whatever your eyes go to is probably what their eyes went to. And again, these are making some educated guesses of doing a lot of this, but I don't think they like that price. They saw 200 and said, fuck that, and they left. Here's another one. Again, if you keep watching these, I guarantee to you it starts painting a picture. They scroll down. They're like, no. Let's look at these ones. Oh, look at this price right here. Doesn't look good. Let's look at some more. Oh, I'm not really that interested. Okay, never mind. That's a failed sale. That is a failed sale. The sales value propositions, which in this case, at the speed this guy is going, was just the pictures. Guys, listen to this very carefully. The sales value propositions that would help you sell your product usually is pictures. And this proves it, because this guy, I'll replay it. This guy's going around way too fast here to check anything else, not to read anything. He's not reading anything, he or she. They're looking at the grills, they're looking at the pictures, they read the price, and your sales value propositions, in this case, was not valuable enough psychologically to justify the prices that they also noticed at warp speed. And that's how fast you have to convince them, and that's how you have to convince them. So this is a quality problem. You're asking, Josh, you're saying prices are a quality problem, and I'm saying, yes, it's a quality problem. Because they went to the page, they went to this page, they went here, they went here, they went back and forth, they scrolled down, they saw the pictures, they saw the price, they said, nope, they went back here. They saw the pictures, they saw the price, they went, nope, and they went back here. And then you got a demoting ranking signal. All because they did not like your price, and the seconds you had to convince them was 16 seconds. And that's the way it works, folks. I'm sorry. So I guarantee to you, if you watch enough of these, if I kept playing this, you would start to see a pattern. I'm already seeing a pattern of them not liking the price, right? And I guarantee you, if you watch enough of these, if you can't tell in the snapshots what's going wrong, watch the recordings. This recordings is the best quality tool out there. I repeat, recordings, I mean, all the other stuff is great too. All the information that Analytics gives you is pretty good. You know, all the information, the other information that like the clicks and the snapshots and whatnot, that Crazy 8 gives you is good. This recording is the best tool there is. And I guarantee you, if you watch enough recordings, if you keep playing them, if you play the next one, and you start from the lowest number and go higher, and start watching and see why they leave. Oh, they're looking at it. They're not so sure. This is ugly. Ooh, not sure. On $200? Oh, I don't like that. Oh, kind of looking around, not so sure about it. And then they leave. You watch enough of these videos, you start to get the reason why your quality is not as good as it needs to be. And do not tell me it's not going to make a difference, because I've measured it empirically and it does. It seems to. I've done single variable isolated tests, and pogo sticking and bounce back to SERP seems to. And the whole industry thinks it does, and Google was warned us it does, and I believe it does. I've got multiple levels of evidence to suggest this is the case now. And, oh, by the way, if you fix these problems here of them not liking your price and or the way you're presenting it, this is a presentation problem. So you don't present the price anymore, and you have them contact you, and then they email you for a quote, and they stop searching, and then they get the quote back, and then they either buy or don't buy. But you've removed it from this browsing process, right? If they get to page 2 and they email you and they close the browser, then you've terminated the search, you've stopped the pogo sticking, you've stopped the bounce back to SERP, you've stopped the demoting factors. So you got to get them to close the browser. That's a good sign. And do something else. Terminate the search is what you need to do. However you can do it. Remove the prices, drop the prices, change the way you present things, put your lower prices stuff up here and not your high price stuff. I know it's going to make your sales process more annoying because you're going to have to deal with many more people on email, but sorry, that's what you need to do for Google. And I've measured the drop of what it can do to your rankings. So that's my rant about quality, and the recordings here in Crazy Egg are the best tool for it. You play enough of these, and you really start to notice, you start with the lowest time first, and you really start to notice where the problems are on the website and what they don't like and how they use it. And they're like, oh, I'm using it around. I'm checking out stuff I want. Oh, look at this price. I'm not so sure. Oh, look at that price. I'm not so sure. This is what I want. Never mind. Right? That's the kind of looky-loose will kill your rankings. If this session is going to teach you anything at all, it's that looky-loose. I don't know how to pronounce it. Looky-loose will kill your ranking, because they're going to bounce back to Google. They're going to bounce back to Google. They're going to poke a stick around the site. They're going to bounce back to Google, and that is not what you want. Okay, so let's summarize then. Let me go back to my audit. I promised I would go through this whole thing. I've got 10 minutes to do so. I'm going to go through this thing as quickly as possible. So this is everything I look at when I'm doing an audit. It depends on the site. So I didn't show you everything I would look at because there's some local stuff I would or not look at, depending if it is. So warp speed, I'm going to go through everything I would look at on my audit. I would make sure I would look at the traffic. Most sites are throwing away traffic, so I can safely say this. If it doesn't apply to you, I would remove it. I would do that old school competitive analysis that I showed you. I would, on the SERP here, and I would say, okay, this is what you need to rank. You need this trust flow. You need this PA. You need to be this big of a site. You need to have social or not. You need to do your own page. You know, I would notice all those differences there. You could put Cora in here if you want. Okay, I warn them the mobile first index is coming. I would tell them to move to AMP, possibly. I would check their mobile experience like I showed you in analytics. I would check their internal bounce, the pogo sticking that I mentioned. I would not let them bounce back to SERP. I would check the pogo sticking that I mentioned. Again, this is just a review of everything I've just gone over already. If their page layout is dated and confusing, I would say so and say they need a new design. That might be what I might say for Dan's site here. I apologize, Dan, but that's what I would say. That it doesn't look new. It doesn't look new and rich, and it doesn't look modern. It doesn't inspire that I should give my money to you at all in any way, shape, or form. It looks like you bought a design from 1997. No offense. I don't mean to be blunt, but I got to move quickly here. I would check the crawl levels again. I would check returning visitors. And if it's a blog, I would say they should be around 20%. That's just my rough guess. That's just rough guess. This is not a major factor. This is a major factor. I would check all that stuff that I checked in Crazy Egg, and then I checked in Analytics. And if Analytics said that it looked bad, I would move to Crazy Egg. If Analytics didn't say it looked bad, then I wouldn't worry about it. And it definitely looks bad on most sites. I would use that page in Analytics that I showed you. I deleted it now, but that the user flow page, I would use that one. I would check that here. Again, I'm just reviewing. If you can't remember what I'm talking about, pause the video, go back. And I would talk about what I see in a page that is probably an issue, and I would say we should use Crazy Egg to better diagnose this. And just the exact way I would show you I used Crazy Egg. I would give you my advanced time on page Panda code if you don't have it already. I would check for suspect looking backlinks. I would check if you have a rel canonical tag on every page. You better. Otherwise, you would have a problem. And again, you want to be canonically back to the main page, not any URL canonicals. I would check the site speed. I would check your internal linking to make sure that you haven't de-optimized certain pages you want to rank. I would check your off-site recommendations. I would check your social platforms. Do you have actually organic users on your social, on your Facebook page? Do you have likes? Do you have shares? Do you have clicks from your social? Do you have links out to your social pages and you're linking back? Do you have comments on your e-commerce pages? You should. For your links, definitely you need to have quality links. But I would have told you that back up in the competitive analysis, how many links you need and from what sources. This is just an anecdotal old thing just to say, hey guys, don't go buying links from everywhere. Don't get obvious bot links. Always content links, never footer links. Index page above the fold, main content links are preferred, or just main content link preferred above the fold. That has the most juice from an old PageRank perspective. This is an old standby, just to be careful. Although in testing, I've tested this every time, and I've always used 100% exact match anchors, and it's never had a problem, but I would never tell a client to do that. And no matter what kind of linking you've been doing, I remind you never to delete or disavow any link unless you've suffered a manual action versus site. You should have reviews and ratings, especially if you're local. I would check your geographic target, as I've already shown you. Here's the local stuff. I will make this a little smaller, so local people who want to jot this down. You want to have reviews and ratings. This is the 7 things you want to do. Take a screenshot of this if you care about local. This is what you want to do. Also, I can send you this information if you want local. Here's the, or you can also take a screenshot. Here's the local data aggregators you'd want to be listed in. Google's wired directly into these. Hat tip to Ted for sending these to me. If you have events, here's the thing on events you want to list. You might want to run an event just to have listings in here. Having links from these sites would flesh out your entity and probably help you out. Here's the SEO1 checklist. Again, take a screenshot of this. Take a screenshot of this. And the ones in yellow are the ones that I think are the most important. Get an enhanced local listing 360-degree tour for local by a real Google business photographer who's listed on this page. If this page still exists, I'm not even sure. This was years ago. Does this page exist? Nope. Okay, do a search for actual real Google business photographer. And try to find one in your area. And they will boost your local listing. There we go. You can search for them here on Street View Hire. That's probably where it is at now, Street View Hire. Boop, 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 boop. Let me just adjust my document while I'm doing this. Title descriptions. I don't care about brand stuff anymore. I should probably remove all this stuff. I'll put it back if I think it's important. But this is just the basic thing. It's, hey, have a good title. Don't have a boring title like this. Have a title tag that looks like this where people will click it. Use asterisks. Put any sales value propositions here. Use the 5 psychology power words. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you want the tips on how to make a better title. You should have your keyword in it because we know for ranking it makes a difference. Hat tip to Ted. He insists that Quora is showing correlations that if you have your you want to have, if dog costumes is what you want to rank for, you want to have dog costumes in your meta description. We need to do a single variable test to prove that. Kyle has already tested this and it didn't hold true. Ted insists this for Quora. So that was one of the awkward things about the recent debate I had with Chase, is that Ted put up a bad example that was not proved in single variable testing. And I'm like, Ted, please be quiet. I want to just finish this debate. But I love Ted, don't get me wrong. And I love Quora. Quora's great. Quora is a very scientific tool. It's better than just from the hip observations. If I had from the hip observations that said this or that is a ranking factor, and I did correlation studies and it never correlated, I would stop saying it. I would believe Quora over my from the hip observations. So it's a better piece of evidence. There's a reason. There is a reason why I put Quora. 1 second. Yeah, Mac, here we go. Come on. There's a reason why I put Quora. I hate the Macintosh sometimes. There's a reason why I put Quora here above in the field observations. Because if you have many different correlation studies that show it doesn't correlate with rankings, then this observation is probably wrong, no matter how many times you think it works. But this is the daddy. Forgive my heteronormativity. This here is the boss. This is the biggest. This has more truth points. This is more truthy. This gives you the better quality of evidence and knowledge than even correlation studies. So that's just the way it works. So if a bunch of pages got de-indexed, I would warn them. Remember, I showed you that in Search Console. If they're running a blog, I'd say, hey, reminder, you have to be magazine level quality, because if you're not, then Panda's going to nab you. If you get these kind of metrics instead of good metrics, Panda's going to nab you on your blog, on your e-commerce site, on your local site. It doesn't matter. Google is tracking all pages with this. Google is tracking all pages with this. This is a problem for all kinds of pages, local, global. It doesn't matter. I believe this is a ranking factor that is across the board. But remember, where is it here? Crazy Egg is the last factor. Remember, we checked this guy's snapshots here, which I thought would be terrible, but actually Dan's snapshots were not too bad. I thought this would look much worse, but so the blog is not fully failing here, as far as I can tell from Crazy Egg. People are getting this information. The blog is just failing because it's just not what you want to do for a local site. I don't see how this is helping him rank for local queries. I don't see how he's retaining, he's getting any sales from this. But in terms of locals, in terms of user metrics signals, it doesn't seem to be doing too badly. So I think he might have avoided this kind of bounce back to SERP and this kind of pogo sticking for the most part on his blog side, because these metrics look much better. And out of 44 visits, we have 58 interactions. So this is a succeeding page, and it would not be subject to this kind of critique probably in my audit. So I give just kind of a repeater. If they don't have HTTPS, I tell them to have one. If there's any schema issues, I would say here. And I remind you that product and review schema are the ones that in testing seem to give the best boost. So if you can use product and review schema, you should. And also I remind that hentry and hatom is not the kind of schema you want to be using, because remember, hatom and hentry is only used for RSS feed syndicated content. Syndicated RSS content. This is what you're telling Google you are. This is just a rule of thumb, and this is just a correlation I've seen in the field. This is just another in the field observation here that I'm about to make. But 70% of the time, when I see a site that has quality problems and having ranking trouble, I also see that it, for some reason, is using hentry or hatom as the schema declaration. So you do not want to tell Google hatom is atom RSS feeds. You do not want to tell Google you're an RSS content. Again, I would put this low on the list of things to fix. But, and again, it's only level 3 knowledge here. I've never tested this. We could put an hentry schema on a page and see if it goes down in a single variable test, but I just tell the client not to do this, just to make sure all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed, so that later on when I'm trying to rank a site and it's not working, I'm scratching my head thinking, you know, what do I check now? On page SEO, I give you a bunch of suggestions, but basically just use Page Optimizer Pro. And basically, I'll just remember to put in my affiliate link in here. I should. Get pop. No word, no. There we go. Okay. So basically, this is what you should be doing. You shouldn't be following these, but in case the client never wants to talk to me again, remember, not all the clients sign on for monthly services. So in case the client never talks to me again and just follows my audit, which a lot of them do, and they get good results, and I'd be like, okay, well, here's some suggestions, but I really think you should be using POP, because quite frankly, it is the killer on-page tool. And I will keep recommending it as long as it is. The second it is not the killer on-page tool, I will no longer recommend it. Here's my suggestion how to get feature snippets. Don't bother trying to take this down. If you want this information, I'll post it in the group. I have before, I can again. I remind them to add a terms of service, because we just recently saw in Quora that correlated with huge rankings, and people tried it in the wild and they got huge boosts. So add a terms of service if you don't have it. And remember, don't do keyword cannibalization. I already talked about this earlier. Running out of time here, running out of time. I give them those are all the major factors. That's all the major factors. That's really everything I have on the list to fix, including everything I found out in the competitive analysis. So really, remember, it's competitive analysis, all the tech issues, quality issues, linking, social, on page. That's how you rank. That's it. Now I have some minor issues here. This is my Panda list. Go to moralconcept.net Panda list if you want this list here. This is basically minor factors that I do list here in case I find them, like if they're blocking Googlebot from CSS or JS, or if they have URL parameters in their site navigation or sitemap. I do remind them of that. I do check to see if there's any bad reviews about them out there. So for example, I would go to, where is my browser? Hello, browser. I would go here, and when I did that as Strident search, I would have also gone down here, sorry, I forgot about it, and check to see if there's any bad reviews about them. And I would also go here and go reviews and see if anyone's given them a bad review. And there is a bad merchant algorithm, and I don't know how it works, and Google released it like 5 years ago, but I will check for some bad reviews here. And if I see them, I'll say, hey, if you can clean them up, I really suggest you do. And average session duration, I might bitch and moan about that if I think it means anything. and the possible link juice I told you about, the 301 to comparable pages, not to lose link juice, and the URL parameters, we would list those here. And that's it. And that's what usually is good for now. That's usually what I would recommend. So that's it. And I even left 6 minutes for questions. Let me see if I can answer the questions in 6 minutes here, because I got to run. So if you guys got questions, you guys got 6 minutes to ask them. And I'm sorry there's a 30-second delay, so you probably got 5 minutes to ask, because at 4 o'clock I got to leave. I hope that was useful to you of everything that I would check. So what kind of questions do you guys got? I hope you guys are still watching this and receiving it. Yes, I'm sorry. That was a lot to digest. But you can watch it again and again. That's what I go over for my audit. Please don't copy my audit, like all the colors and everything, and be selling that, because that would just be not cool. But by always, oh, of course you can rewatch it, Chica. So I'm going to leave this up here for a while, and then I'm going to move this into my password protected area. So if you're trying to watch it later on and you can't watch it, and I've removed it off of YouTube, then I'll move it. I have SEO courses right now. I'll show you. So SEO proof is where all the proofs are. You want to see what Josh knows what he's talking about? Here they are in SEO proof. It's just a Dropbox folder I got here, where I'm like, look at 4 million impressions I got for somebody. Look at the 8 million impressions I got. Look at the, whatever else. Here's the 10 times clicks we got. Here's the whatever else we got. Here's the $65,000 I made for clients. Here's the guy who didn't think he needed an audit. He did the audit. And boom, obviously something was clearly wrong, probably Panda. Or probably a tech problem to give that big of a boost so fast. So here's all my SEO proof here. SEO quickies, that's just my quickie videos I do for both the Black Hat and also my mentor group. I might just leave that on my mentor group. And the courses here are, let me show you let me get the courses here. Sorry. Let me minimize this. I got to minimize this. Let me move this over. Let me go here. I have it in a note here. But right now, I have all the courses in right here. I'm about to copy it and go back to this one. And here's where the courses are going to be. Here's the font size so you can read that. And here's where the courses are. bit.ly Josh SEO 101, and the password is SEO 101. And later on, so if this, copy that down. Later on, my courses are going to be here. The one course is there that I've done already, and then the next course is going to be there. Let me check to make sure there's no questions to answer. So Andrew says, fantastic run through. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked it. Sorry if you answered in the Q&A. Can you quantify how important quality is in percentage of the algo in compared to links? I think that quality is at least 30 to 50% of the algorithm. Here's why I think everyone who's telling me they're not ranking in anything, in a forum, in my groups, on air, I'm pretty sure your quality is not set. I don't know that for sure. It could be a tech problem, could be an on-page problem, could be an off-page problem, but I think quality is 30 to 50% of the algorithm, because it makes such a ranking difference, like up to 3 spots, as much as links at least. And it can punch you off the SERP. It can drop you from page 1 to page 2. I've seen it happen. So do not underestimate it. I'll put the course here in the chat. It's here it is here. Sorry, that's not it. There. It's bit.ly Josh SEO 101, and the password is SEO 101. That's what it is for now. I'm going to change this every few months, by the way. So I might change it monthly so that only people who are in my mentor program can watch these courses. If you download it, please do not share it anywhere else. If I find it, I'll be really pissed off, and I don't know, I'll cry. I don't know what I'll do. I'm not going to make threats like I'll find you. I'll sick Holly on you. So if I find my course somewhere, I'll stick Ollie on you. But so you can watch us later on. I'll also share this in the Skype. So Andrew, I think that quality is at least 30 to 50% of the algorithm. So that's what I think. So there you go, guys. It's going to be 4 o'clock in a couple seconds. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this course. If you have any questions, you can always ask in the Skype groups. If you want to stay on the mentor group, I recommend it. The Skype groups are fantastic for asking questions. I do SEO quickies. I always show you what my SEO proof is. I do SEO quickies on a weekly basis. I also have a weekly test results meeting that you get access to, and you get access to the courses when you're in the mentor group. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I've got to sign off now and go punch people in the face. So I hope you enjoyed the course, and if I'm going to leave it here on YouTube for a while so you guys can watch it, and in a few days I'm going to move it over to that bit.ly link that I gave you. In a few days I'm going to move over to this bit.ly link here in a few days. But for now I'm going to leave it on YouTube. You can watch it. So thanks a lot, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, ask me in Skype or on email, and we'll talk to you.